The Angry Chicken is a production of amove.tv. Check out Amove TV for more podcasts covering Blizzard games. And for more of Jocelyn's gaming podcasts, visit josplays.com. The Angry Chicken is brought to you by our legendary patrons over at patreon.com/TAC.
Time's up. Let's do this.
Legendary!
You face Jaraxxus. You smell like a leper gnome. I knew it. So hot.
A podcast about Hearthstone and Battlegrounds. This is The Angry Chicken!
Greetings and welcome, everyone. This is indeed TAC. I am Garrett. She is Jocelyn. And we are back, and I am back for an extended period of time. Unless I get cripplingly ill or something.
I was going to say, do you promise this time? Because you said you were back last time, and then you were like, whoopsie doodles, anniversary, gonna be gone again.
Oh, don't say whoopsie. Whoopsie doodles makes it sound like I didn't give you ample warning. So last week was planned. The 2 weeks before was very much not so. So,
well, yeah, but I didn't want to rip on you for that week, Garrett. Come on. That's just cruel.
Yeah, but I have to crack back and make you feel at least a little bit like a bad person. That's how this works. That's how there's a give and take. And I'm only interested in the taking portion. So,
yeah, I'm glad to have you back, though. I mean, our guests have been amazing. Hat and Vigil did a great job covering for you. But, we've been doing this for almost 400 episodes now. There's a certain, give and take, like you said. Yeah, there's I don't know, a rapport.
Yeah.
A level of comfort and familiarity.
Yes, it's we've been doing this a while, since 2013, which math is hard. 7 years?
Yeah, 7 years, dude.
Holy butts. Holy butts. That's a long time, Joss. That's a long time. This is my 10th year podcasting. I don't know when you started.
2011. So.
Oh, congrats. Next year.
Yeah.
Next year.
I know. I'm trying not to think about it too much because it's kind of weird. Like doing what we do for so long. I don't know. It's just, it's weird. And I haven't done anything. I haven't stuck with anything for that long.
No, our bosses have been terrible throughout our life, and there's no reason to stay with I know you currently have a boss, so I hope they're not listening, but but yeah, the best bosses have been our listeners and folks supporting us on Patreon and whatnot. But this isn't like a round number episode, so I don't know why we're I don't know
why we're reminiscing. We have a lot to get to.
We do. We should probably stop. I'm just glad to be back, and it feels longer. It feels almost like there was a major event in the United States of America over the course of me being absent that could have possibly made me feel like decades took place within about 4 days.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, technically you were back for 1 week in between, but you haven't really had a chance to talk yet about the Darkmoon set. Like we had a lot of big major Hearthstone topics that we covered while you were away. So I feel like when you left versus where we are now in terms of everything we know about the expansion, everything we know about patch 19.0, which came out today, Hearthstone is a different beast than before you left the first time, right?
Yeah, even before the first time, between 2 weeks ago and now, as someone who has been spending way more time with Battlegrounds than any other mode in Hearthstone, what a week for me to go away.
Yes.
What the shit happened while I was gone? I felt like a parent who came back after their kids threw a movie-style high school party. Where I'm just like, wait, the living room is on the roof. What is happening? Yeah. Or I guess the basement is on the roof if I'm really talking Battlegrounds, because freaking Galakron and Togwaggle are on, or not, Wag Toggle are on top.
Yep.
And
things did completely flip. And when Vigil and I were talking about it, we thought that most of the changes would be, in some cases, really, really good. But we definitely did not envision the two bottom heroes becoming the two top heroes. That was pretty crazy. And I think it's we maybe should have seen it coming, but yeah, we thought they'd be good, just not that good.
Yeah, it's nuts. I came back. Honestly, it was really cool. We've both taken time off and come back, and we've experienced it multiple times over 7 years of doing this podcast. But I don't think I've ever taken a week off and come back with more upheaval than what has happened in the last 7 days. So it's cool. It's been a really unique experience. It was really. I got to be a fan for a week, and I get to do that before. Like it's cool when I get to listen to the show when I'm not on it, but like it was also cool just being like, oh, I wasn't on the show, and also like Kenny and I did a pretty damn good job of staying off social media, so I wasn't staying up on stuff. Like I didn't see the patch when it dropped last week. And so I came back and I logged into the game. I was like, oh my God, is this what normal people experience in Hearthstone? Do they just log in? They're like, wait, up is down, left is right. What's going on? Cats and dogs are living together. And it was really unique. And so, yeah, but it doesn't matter because as you said, there's a butt ton of stuff to talk about. And so 19.0 is officially here. It dropped today. We've had literally a few hours with it. In between trying to buy PS5s.
Not a whole lot of time, yeah.
Unsuccessfully, I might add. I struck out 3 times today.
Aw.
And I will not make you break in 8 minutes when the next batch at Walmart goes on sale. So I give up. If anyone has a line on it and doesn't want to upcharge me, let me know. Garrett Arn on Twitter. But 19.0 is here. And with it has come the Tavern Pass, the new version that is a battle pass, not... actually has nothing to do with Battlegrounds. They have split off the Battlegrounds perks as its own separate purchase, or perch, as I like to say, because I'm a cool guy.
Do we have to shorten absolutely everything?
Obvi.
Like, obvi, some words need to be shortened, but others, like purchase.
Purchase is when my bank account is mad at me. Perch is when my birds outside are happy. But yeah, Tavern Pass is here. Battleground Perks has split off of it and is its own separate thing for $15. That is here, and the achievement system is here as of today.
It is, and I have thoughts and feelings on things now that we officially have it in game and can see how everything works. The first thing that I wanted to point out, just as a quality of life thing that I noticed that they added, is when you AFK for a while, you no longer have to close out of the Hearthstone client completely and go back in. You can just, there's a little, it looks like the little Wi-Fi symbol with the 3 little lines. You could just click that in the bottom right corner and it'll reconnect you to Hearthstone servers instead of having to fully close down Hearthstone and reopen it again. I didn't know that was coming, but it was something else that's now in 19.0.
I want to try that on mobile. I wonder if they added that there as well.
I don't know.
I guess we'll find out.
On mobile, yeah, we'll have to find out. But,
neither have I. My phone is still very old, and I'm looking at a 12, drooling at the moment. So there's the look into the window of my iPhone life, everyone. Yeah, I didn't know that. That's cool. But I mean, what do you, for you, Joce, here's a good lead in. What are you more hyped about? And this may dictate which one we talk about first. The Battle Pass system, which is now just called the Tavern Pass, which is a little confusing if you were already used to that term as primarily a Battlegrounds perk system. Or are you more excited about the achievement system being added to the game?
I think from a happy place, I'm more excited about achievements. I think that there's things that need to be said about the Tavern Pass, but it's not because I'm happy about it. I thought there were some positives, but I think the Tavern Pass has one giant fail, and it kind of just ruins the whole thing for me. I don't know.
Oh, really? Okay.
I'm still going to have to play through it and see how it ends up feeling. But for me, so we talked about this when we talked about just battle passes in general. And my hope for Hearthstone is that they would learn from ones that I think are implemented correctly and feel the best as someone who's played a bunch of different games that have these battle pass systems. My favorite by far has been the Dead by Daylight system, which is very similar to Hearthstone in that it gives you a certain different things like the daily quests to complete as you work your way through the battle pass. but each and every level of the Dead by Daylight pass is the same. You need 10, they call them rift fragments, but it doesn't matter. You need 10 for level 1 and you need 10 for level 70. And so your progression is very steady throughout the entire length of the battle pass. And what is not immediately obvious when you log into the Hearthstone one is how much XP is required for every level. You don't find out how much experience you need for each level until you hit that level. So level 1 was like 100 XP and I was like, oh, cool. And then, level 2 is like 150. And I'm like, oh man, like already it's like 150% is hard. That's the first level. Like it just,
those early levels are going to be excruciatingly easy because of the XP that quests do yield you, but those latter levels are going to be nuts.
Yeah, I came first in a Battlegrounds lobby with Alex Straza. Anyways, I came first
you are
in a Battlegrounds.
Just the luckiest bastard on earth. I've got
anyways I came first with which was one of my weekly quests, so it was worth like almost 2,000 experience, and it bumped me from level 2 all the way up to level 8 today. And on one hand it's kind of weird because you have to for both of the systems, the Tavern Pass, like reward tracks, as well as the achievements, you have to go in and claim them, which is kind of odd. But anyways, it jumped me from level 1 to level 8. So those, like you said, early levels are really easy to get. But then I look at the next one and I'm like, oh, okay, that's like, I can't even remember what it is, 800 or 900 XP for the next level. And I'm like, that's half my next weekly quest. So it's like, it really ramps up really quickly. I have no idea. And this is kind of speaks to the transparency or lack thereof with the Tavern Pass, is I have no idea how much XP it's going to take me to get to the final level. And at some point, I'm sure I'm going to be able to complete all 3 of my weekly quests and not earn 1 level of my Tavern Pass. And that just feels so terrible. I wish that they'd learned from other companies that have made battle passes that feel good to complete and feel good to progress through. And it seems like they haven't. They've just made this like every other XP grind in anything you've ever done. And I don't think that's the right approach to a battle pass. Now, I will say the one thing that I really do enjoy is the fact that you don't have to buy it. The rewards on the top level are few and far between. I think they're every 5 levels or something, and they're completely cosmetic. So you don't need to buy it, other than the fact that they do give you that 10% bonus XP. So with the 10% bonus, it makes it feel a little bit required, especially when you realize that the XP isn't spread equally throughout, right? Like, feels like I'm going to need that 10% bonus if I intend to complete the reward tiers or reward tracks, whatever they call it.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm with you on a lot of this. I want to reserve judgment to how it not being consistent throughout, like you said, comparing it to, in your case, Dead by Daylight. Because day one, I've barely had a chance to really experience this, so we'll have to see. But considering how it's already growing, it seems like it's going to be quite a bit by the time you get to the end, right? Yeah, it's interesting for me. For me, I had it like my first reaction was kind of a negative reaction to the quests.
Okay.
Because I got in, the first thing I wanted to do was check the quests, because they said, you're going to be, not only are they adding weekly quests, which is just a thing we didn't have before. They just held on to a quest for a week, and that's not a weekly quest. That's just you being weird.
That's just something that you didn't do.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, okay, so they're going to have to, come up with a lot of new quests. And I don't know. I was kind of, I wasn't saying super tapped into a lot of the messaging that was coming out about this battle pass. So I don't know, but I had this personal assumption that they were going to let me grind this out however I wanted to play Hearthstone, but it's not. There's still like barely any Battlegrounds representation in the quests.
Yeah, I think my weekly quests, and I'm guessing that they're probably random because 2 of my 3 weeklies were Battlegrounds. So I had a quest to get first in a lobby, which I did. And then I had a quest to win 5 of Battlegrounds, duels, and something else. But it wasn't arena. It was very specifically not arena. Maybe it was Tavern Brawl. Maybe it was Brawl, Battlegrounds, and duels.
I have a weekly for Brawl, Battlegrounds, and duels. That's the only of the 6 things I'm staring at quest right now. It's the only thing that has Battlegrounds in the title. Same for Brawl or duels, which I find really disappointing.
Now, I think you also, and I could be wrong here, I thought you also got XP just for playing a game.
Oh, you do.
So like, okay, yeah. So you are still, even if you just go in and play Battlegrounds, you will be rewarded with a little bit of XP towards your Tavern Pass reward track. But you're totally right. Like the quests that you're given, the dailies and the weeklies, are 100% like, or not 100%, but probably about 90% of your XP rewards. Like those are huge chunks. I think I have one weekly quest that's win 7 standard games that gives me like 20, almost 2,400. I think it's like 2,375 or something XP. So they are the way to go if you're trying to grind levels, is to make sure you're completing all your quests. So if you are a strictly Battlegrounds player, you're definitely a disadvantage. Now you can re-roll your quests. I don't know how many you can do. I only re-rolled 1 because it was, I think, dual specific.
I believe it is 1 weekly per week and 1 daily per day.
Okay.
So and then so I did, and then I got use your hero power 50 times, and I was like, hey, does that complete in Battlegrounds? And the answer is no. Not to mention, well, kind of weird because there's plenty of passive hero powers in there as well, but at the same time, like, and then I was also got a daily to play 20 Murlocs, and I actually ended up going a Murloc comp in a Battlegrounds game, and I got no credit towards that whatsoever. So it was just feeling left out as someone who finds Battlegrounds infinitely more interesting at the moment.
Yeah, I'm on the same page. I think that there's room for improvement in this system, but I also think it's stuff that could have been or was already like feedback that was given by the community of like, oh, hey, we see what you're talking about. And it's kind of funny because Blizzard said when they announced it, they're like, oh, nothing's finalized. We haven't decided this, that, and the other thing, like way back from when they when that spreadsheet got leaked. Like, when was that? Like 3 or 4 months ago, that spreadsheet got leaked. So it was just like, well, nothing's changed from that spreadsheet. So don't tell me you're working on it and you're open to feedback if you're going to keep everything the freaking same.
I haven't honestly gone back and looked at it, so I can't comment. But yeah, I mean, if nothing else, I mean, your biggest concern was the XP getting higher with each level.
Higher and higher, yeah.
You know,
and chat room is saying, I don't know exactly where. I'm guessing it's on Reddit because I'm pretty sure Reddit is a banned word in our chat room. So I think that's why it's not permitting it. But anyways, if what you're going to link to is the spreadsheet, I'm pretty sure it's the same. I don't know if anyone has actually been able to grind up. I would highly, highly doubt that within the first couple of hours, someone's been able to fully grind the entire Tavern Pass. So I don't think that we actually.
Trampling is saying that it's already been confirmed that the maximum XP you need for a single level is from 49 to 50, and it's 9,000 XP.
Right, and so I'm just wondering on a source for that because, like I say, there's no way to see it in game as far as I could tell, and until you actually get there, and I don't think anyone has been able to get there yet.
Yeah, TLDR, it's almost 6.5 thousand experience to get from 1 to 50.
650,000, not 6.5.
Sorry.
Yeah.
You get the idea.
It's a lot, you guys.
Oh, wait, that's
it's
1 to 150. Never mind. So it would be. I'm more interested in 1 to 50 because past that point, it's just bonus gold, I believe.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Apparently, out of cards, data mined it. Fair enough.
Yeah.
So I would say, data mined is probably right then. But yeah, every level up to 50. Oh, every level after 50 is 4.5K. But to go from 49 to 50, that it's 9K, which is so much. Like I said, I have 3 weekly quests in there right now that all of them together do not add up to 9K, which means I could do all my weekly quests in a week and not get a level. And that by the time we get there in however many weeks is going to feel really bad. And I am not a fan. I think it's a huge fail. And I'm, I'm not going to mince words here because I feel like I always try to tiptoe around stuff. And maybe that's why maybe the feedback was too nice and not to the point enough. So this is a fail. I don't like it. I'm not mincing words. This was done wrong.
Fair. I also I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt. I have purchased a tavern pass. It's the first time. I just want to jump in both feet first, see how it goes. But my day one experience is not as hype filled as I thought it would be.
Well, the thing that I thought was well done, or at least better done, and was pretty hype was the achievements. I will say.
The achievement system's great.
Yeah, the achievement system is really, really robust. I was surprised at just the sheer number of them. I think I've got 7,500 achievement points or something. So there are some achievements that carry over from your previous activities.
Celestalon was tweeting about that. So you should follow him on Twitter if you're not already, folks. But he was talking about how it might seem like inconsistent, but at the end of the day, he said kind of retroactive achievements are just really, really difficult because there's some data and some statistics they've already been tracking. And for that,
right, like hero levels and wins on standard wild ladder, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So that they can retroactively award you, but stuff that hasn't already been tracked, but seems like it should have been because it's a relation to achievements you already have when you log in on day one. He basically explained that's why some things were just some very specific things were tracked. And while it seems like they may be tied to other achievements that you were not retroactively awarded, it's not the case. They're just they have just not straight up not been keeping data for those things that seem like you should have them already.
Which, I think there's one achievement that I have progress of 49 out of 50 top 4s with unique battleground heroes. But then I went and looked, and in the Battlegrounds hero section, the only hero that I have a win with now is Alexstrasza, because that was the first place that I got this afternoon. And I'm like, well, if you've tracked top 4 with unique Battlegrounds heroes, shouldn't you also know the heroes that I've hit first with in a lobby? And so I can see that information. It would make sense that was there, but I don't know. Who knows how they've got things set up on the back end. Now when you get those things there, then they're going to actually come through. I'm guessing that there's no Tyrion hero achievement for getting first with Tyrion because he's not even in the pool right now. So there's going to be some things like that.
In that, top 4 with 50 different champions, did Tyrion count for you? Because I'm sure if you got Tyrion, you accidentally got top 4 at least. So
100%. Yeah. And this is kind of the one thing that is, other than going in and having to claim your achievements, which I think is really weird. There's not a whole lot of information around the progress. So I can't see when I go to that 49 to 50 Battlegrounds heroes, I can't see the heroes I'm missing. And I also can't see the heroes that I've completed. There's no way to know which hero I should play in order to get that full achievement, right? I can kind of scroll down and see which ones I haven't won a lobby with. But then again, that's only since this afternoon. So I really don't know what those 49 heroes are and what I should play to get the 50th. I could play a Zephrys or Silas because they're the newest ones. And, so therefore they're the ones that I haven't, actually gotten a win with because I haven't played with them yet. So there's always that road I could potentially go down. But I know I only have one, and if I had 37 out of 50, I'd have no idea.
Good point.
So I just wish that there was a little bit more information about like progression and how like either what you have done or haven't done, like what's remaining to be completed. They have the similar system over in World of Warcraft. So with like storylines, it'll say like, hey, you're in this zone and here's a list of all the storylines in the zone, and then it turns green when you've done it and it's grayed out when you haven't. Or here's all the mounts that you need to collect for an achievement, like again, green if you have it, grayed out if you don't. That's just the kind of next step I'd like to see them take with this, because right now, as far as I can tell, they're not searchable. They're not like, if I click on it, it doesn't like jump me to a hero I haven't played as yet, or, you know, it doesn't have that next level of like robustness. But I will say there's so many freaking achievements in there, you guys. I am so surprised.
They've gotten, they
really
went
way
deep on this. Yeah. They got super clever with some of these achievements. And I like the UI. I was with you. I want to defend the interface because I was with you for a hot second on thinking it was a little strange that I had to go and collect my achievement points.
Yeah.
Until I noticed that some achievements give XP. And I thought, okay, that makes a little bit.
Oh, they do?
Yes, there's some with chests, and they also give you a little bit of experience.
Is there a way to tell which ones those are?
They have a chest icon instead of just a gold number icon. The gold number icon is just achievement points. The ones with the chest have something in addition, usually to achievement points. And to me, that makes sense. Because you think about like anything, like before, like Hearthstone's entire time, the only thing you would really earn, I mean, other than gold and whatnot, are packs. And you'd be made aware of that, and you'd have to go in, you'd have to actually open your packs. It wouldn't just throw a bunch of cards randomly into your collection. You have to go figure out later what were awarded. And so I kind of dig that. I see it as kind of actually fairly consistent with how Hearthstone has doled out rewards in the past. It would have been weird if it was only achievement points. If it was only achievement points, like just keep racking them up like every other achievement point on God's green earth, please. But because there's other things that can be unlocked in there, it makes sense to me. I'll go to bat for it on that regard. I actually think it's kind of clever interface and keeps it with the Hearthstone theme of like moving through your game board and also like kind of guide you there and makes you, actually interface with it and look at it a little more often. Because I don't know about you, but I can't remember the last time I checked my achievements on something like my PlayStation or my Xbox.
I do that all the time, dude.
Okay.
But I am a completionist achievement hunter. Like literally today I went in there, and when I was looking at this, I'm like, oh, okay, 49.50. I need to play a hero I haven't played yet, and I need to get a top 4. Oh, also AFK. I really like AFK. What's her achievement? Because all of the different heroes have like a thing specific to them on top of like winning a lobby with them. And hers is go AFK for the first 3 turns instead of the first 2 turns, which is, oh my God, so punishing.
I'm the opposite. I have historically, outside of World of Warcraft, where achievements earn you awesome stuff, I don't give a crap about achievements. Like I find them obnoxious. I find them obtrusive. I hate playing a Naughty Dog game and seeing an achievement toast. I'm just like, this game is amazing. I'm ready to cry from the scene that's playing out in front of me. I don't really give a crap about the pun you wrote for your trophy. Okay, please and thank you. Go away.
I love those so much.
Yeah, I've never been an achievement person outside of World of Warcraft, because you actually, for some of the harder to achieve ones, you get awesome stuff.
So do you think that XP or maybe card packs, or like, I don't know exactly what all is tied to achievements, but those ones that do have the extra little bonus, is that enough to make you like seek them out? Because then again, I would like some sort of part of the interface that tells me, oh, hey, Joce, guess what? Here's the ones you can do for XP, like filter by rewards or something would be really good. But again, that's just me wanting next level. But I think that the way that they've done it right now is fine, because they've created a much more robust and a much deeper system than I thought that they were going to. The fact that they very specifically have like class achievements for doing stuff in the next expansion, like, play such and such a card 10 times, do this cool combo. Like there's lots of stuff in there that's built specifically for Darkmoon Faire. And I did not think that they were going to go that deep. I thought it was literally just going to be, hey, how many levels do you have with your heroes? How many cards have you collected? Like I thought it was going to be really superficial. So I'm pleasantly surprised with achievements.
Yeah, don't think you're wrong by any means by wanting to like be able to track things like that. To me, I think that's kind of a borderline standard of achievements, even as someone who is not a particularly large fan of achievements. But at the same time, this like by Hearthstone standards, this is a lot. Like this is surprising. Yeah. This is an impressive amount of stuff they've done here, and I really like the interface. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's interesting. So the part of this I was the least interested in, I'm the most impressed with, and the part of this I was the most excited for, I'm the least impressed with. It's kind of like where I've landed. I'm just like, oh man, okay, I guess I have to play standard or bust. I guess I could play duels as well, but duels is
still standard or bust.
Still pretty janky. Like duels, I like duels. Don't get me wrong, I really like duels, but I expect a little more polish, even though it's
I'm
beta.
looking forward to duels once it's like out proper, not in beta, because I find right now it's just so hard to judge, and I'm looking forward to having everything out so that they can balance things better. I don't know. Then I'm going to be a dirty net decker. So
Joce, we're about to talk about this set. I don't know if you've heard about it. It's called Madness at the Darkmoon Faire, and I'm just not so certain they're concerned about balance anymore. Or ever again.
You're just sad about Yogg.
No, I'm not
Yogg related things.
I think I just have to give myself over to Yogg. I think I need to get a purple hood.
Yes, praise Yogg, Garrett. And praise Yogg.
Forsake hope of skill, like actually dictating the outcome of my games.
Just praise him. Praise him. We are going full purple. We're going all old gods up in here.
I think Hearthstone is in general, honestly.
Yep.
Which makes me excited for duels because, yeah, standard. I have concerns.
I'm excited. Well, we should talk about things.
We should. Before we get into it, let's thank our patrons over at patreon.com/TAC for supporting this here very podcast. So, folks, if you like what Joce and I are doing, and if you can't stand me, well, if you, at the very least, you like what Joce is doing, check out patreon.com/TAC because that's how you can support us. Like, the show's always going to be free. We're never going to put the Angry Chicken behind a paywall. We promise. Like, for the most part, I don't know. If I can make like $1 million, I'm going to put it behind a paywall, but that's never going to happen. So, if you'd like to support us, patreon.com/TAC is a completely opt-in way to do so. And we've got some perks for you over there, like access to our patron-only Discord, ad-free versions of the podcast just for patrons, and and signups and stuff like that. So go check it out. And this week, Joce, we had some patrons up their pledges, and we don't always do this, but I wanted to thank them. I think it's pretty rad. So Spaceman Spiff, thank you for upping your pledge to $10, and Kyle P, thank you for upping your pledge to $5. Really appreciate it. It's awesome. Like, a lot of folks don't do that, so it's like, oh damn, thank you so much for, I guess, being even more jazzed about what we're doing here. So. We appreciate it. And now, Jocelyn, let's get into this week's Hearthstone news and talk some cards.
Good news, everyone!
We went from knowing some of the cards, Joce, to all of them. All of the cards.
Yeah, I think this is the closest that they have ever come to a just complete and total card dump all at once. It was basically a 9-day reveal season, I think, which is ridiculous. And I mean, when we first started the show, I was like, you know what? Don't even tell me the cards. Don't even do a reveal season. All I want is for everything to come out day one, everyone to experience everything as a surprise together. Like, whoa, crazy, amazing launch day. But, you have always said, as a content creator, that makes you throw up in your mouth a little bit. And I'm now on board. Now that we've had a 9-day reveal season that has gone over like 2 angry chickens, it's not enough, Garrett. It's not enough.
We've been dancing around it for a while, and I am here to announce the official death of card-by-card reviews on the angry chicken.
Yeah.
It can't happen.
It's been a while, but
this would need to be my full-time job, and it isn't. Yeah,
there's no way we can cover, because last week we, I think, went through 9 cards or maybe 12, and there were a few that had been released when the expansion was actually announced, and we were just like, oh my god, we're gonna have to cover literally over 100 cards next week. I'm like, it's not happening. It's not.
No, I'm sorry. It just doesn't. It can't be done. It can't be.
No.
This is. I mean, we made jokes about it. I think on the final episode, the last episode that I was on, which was just like, how do you even cover all of Hearthstone now?
Yes,
like cards,
it's hard
reviews
enough
aside,
with.
How do you even do it? You can't.
Yeah, standard, wild, brawl,
Duels,
Battlegrounds, duels, a new game mode coming in January or February. Like, just, man, too much.
Yeah. We have historically been variety, and we shall continue to be variety.
Yeah.
So there you have it. But let's talk about it. Let's talk about the Darkmoon Faire. And what we're going to do today is, for most of these, I kind of looked at it, Jocelyn, and I asked, what's the same and what's new? And so we're going to talk a little bit about what's getting empowered, what you already know, and what you might be able to add to deck lists that you already, are playing. But we're really going to focus on like what looks to be new archetypes coming out of the classes in the Darkmoon Faire. So let us know what you think about this, unless your reaction is, no, I wanted a 6-hour podcast where you cover 100 cards.
Which, that's going to be everyone's reaction.
Sorry, I appreciate that you actually want to hear us that much. I appreciate it. I am flattered. And I will think about it when I go to bed at a normal hour. But so let's start with Demon Hunter. Let's start at the top with Jocelyn's favorite class. And ask the question, Jocelyn, what is the same with Demon Hunter? And the answer to which is Demon Hunter still demon hunting. They still have lifesteal.
Yes.
They're getting new lifesteal. They're getting new card draw. They're getting new weapons. They're getting new demons. They're still doing Demon Hunter things. But, Jocelyn, one of those things that's the same is kind of new.
Yeah, it's just the same, only different. And
yes, it's just the same, only killing you.
It might be crazy, and I'm not sure if I'm a fan of it, but I'm not sure if I'm not a fan of it because it's Demon Hunter or if I'm just not a fan of it at all. But it seems like in the class they chose to put it in, this could be broken. I am very much trying to measure my responses to this because it feels like there's some really busted Demon Hunter things, and I don't know if I'm angry about that because of the class they put it in or because I think it doesn't belong in Hearthstone. But it seems very broken that lifesteal can go face. That's not what the original keyword was designed for, and so I think the amount of damage you can deal with lifesteal cards is kind of revolves around healing your face. And now that you can damage somebody else's face, that seems like that's just not how the cards with that keyword were designed.
Yeah, Ilgenoth is a new legendary for Demon Hunters. It's a 4-mana 2/6 with lifesteal, and it reads, your lifesteal damages the enemy hero instead of healing you. And so think about any Demon Hunter card, or neutral, any card with
or neutral
lifesteal that you can put in a Demon Hunter deck, however you go about that, including Discover Shenanigans, dealing its lifesteal damage as additional face damage to the opponent. So like Soul Cleave, deal 2 damage to 2 random enemy minions, and that has lifesteal. That's 4 damage to, if you hit 2 minions with it, that's 4 damage to the opposing face instead of healing you. Which I share your concerns. Also, I think this is really cool. I think this is an interesting way to boost damage in a way we've never seen before, because it's very specific. You can only manipulate this through one specific keyword. Only one specific keyword is going to give you extra value out of Ilgenoth.
Right, but they do have they have that lifesteal weapon, and then they have so many ways to add attack to their hero, which then if you have the weapon equipped and you have all of those spells. Eldrazi Warblades. Yeah, if you have the weapon equipped and then you have all of the spells that just boost your damage, then all of those spells, it's not like it deals the Warblades damage with lifesteal and everything else without lifesteal. That all gets smooshed together, which means you can do crazy big, I've been hit in the face. We talked about this last week when Vigil was on. I've been hit in the face with those things for 8, 10, 12 damage in a turn. And if you then double that because of the lifesteal effect here on Ilgenoth, then it's just like, oh my God, you swung in for 20, 24 damage in a turn. That seems insane and not out of the realm of possibility for Demon Hunter because of all of their crazy card draw effects, right? And Outcast having a whole bunch of different like discounts and things when things are outcast. Like what's their hit a minion and heal you lifesteal card that's super cheap if it's Outcast. Oh my god, I'm totally blanking on it now. I-beam, yes. I-beam, thank you. Like, you can I-beam now, which was, you know, still a really swingy card because you could remove something from the board and heal yourself at the same time when you've, in theory, been smacking minions with your face, because that's apparently how they envision Demon Hunter working. But, like, I don't know the last time I saw Demon Hunter attack anything that wasn't my face. But they could remove something from the board with I-beam and then heal themselves up, which was not the best for the opponent. Great for the Demon Hunter, not the best for the opponent. But now when you think of that damage going face to your opponent, like, it just, they don't need burn spells.
I get the feeling that Team 5 wants to speed things up a little bit. Which... I'm kind of okay with. I don't know. I think this is clever, and I like it, and I like this idea of boosting damage.
It's interesting. I just wish it was anywhere else.
Yeah, I don't know, because it makes me think of spell damage, and spell damage is so ubiquitous because it affects any spell that does a set number of damage that can then be amplified. This is specific to lifesteal, and that's cool. So I want to go back forward a little bit there, but also I'm getting a legendary totem in Shaman that I would like to stay on the board, and I'm not even sure I'm going to survive to get there if I go against Demon Hunter because of Ilgenoth. But again, it's Ilgenoth. It's a legendary. It's a one of. You can't have the duplicates unless you find some way to cheat things. But this isn't Rogue. I know it feels like it because it's drawing so many cards and beating you to death with big weapon damage, but it's Demon Hunter. They cannot make duplicates of a card and add it back to the deck. So it's the legendary. It's one of risk reward there.
I know. It doesn't really ask a whole lot of the Demon Hunter. Yeah.
Keep doing Demon Hunter things and pay 4 damage.
Yeah, it's like, hey, just take one slot in your deck to hit your enemy for more because you're already doing lifesteal weapon things. Like that whole crazy build up your weapon and attack with the Warblades, like that's already something they're doing. All they have to do is find one spot for Ilgenoth, and all of a sudden it's a crazy damage combo without changing your deck hardly at all. So I don't know. We'll see. Yep. Maybe I'm doomsaying just because Demon Hunter gives me like PTSD.
I believe you're demon saying, Jocelyn.
Yes, I'm demon saying.
Yep. That's the term you're looking for. But moving on to Druid, I think they're a little tame for such a beastly class. See what I did there?
Whoa.
Yeah. As to what's the same, like, I don't, honestly, not too much. There's no new ramp, which I'm thankful for. There's one new beast, but it starts at 7 mana and it already has Rush, the Umbral Owl. It's the 7 mana 4/4 beast with Rush, costs 1 less for each spell you've cast this game, so you can discount it. But, you know, if you're concerned about beasts in Druid, it's because of Guardian Druid, and you want them to be 5 or less, so you can rip them out of your deck and give them Rush. You don't need to already have it. I mean, I guess it's not the worst thing in the world, but still. Umbral Hour isn't drawing me 2 cards when it attacks.
Mm-hmm. They didn't get ramp, but they did get the Eclipse cards that give you your spells costing less. So it's a different way or casting twice. Yeah. So they got some mana manipulation without it being straight ramp, which I think is good and interesting. There's a lot of stuff too. Like I think Cenarian Ward is kind of an interesting card because it is in that big spell kind of slot. So that might be the kind of thing.
8 mana, gain 8 armor, summon a random 8 cost minion epic spell for Druid.
Yeah, so that's something that could maybe potentially see some play because Druids obviously aren't going to be waiting until turn 8 to cast this. Because they ramp, they can get it out way sooner. So even if you low roll on your 8 drop, you're still getting an 8-drop way before your enemy can, potentially deal with it or, play an 8-drop of their own. So I think that in Druid, this card is better than if it was in any other class. And also they have a lot of stuff that interacts with, if you have a big spell in your hand, do this other thing. So again, this, much like Ilgenoth and Demon Hunter, isn't asking you to do too much outside of what you're already doing in some of those bigger spell Druid lists. So I think we'll probably see that one see some play. But you're right, they didn't really get anything that was super crazy different than what they were already doing. It was kind of like shoring up a lot of what Druid was already trying.
Yeah, probably the most unique card is just because it's weird, which is Guess the Weight, which is a 2-mana epic spell draw card if your next card costs more or less, guess if your next card costs more or less to draw it. Yeah. That's just weird and unique. Not certain it's good.
Well, I mean, it could potentially be, it's definitely draw 1 card for 2, right? It's maybe draw 2 cards for 2. Depending on if you understand, like if you're running Hearthstone Deck Tracker, but if like the probabilities of drawing, above or below.
What are you talking about, Jocelyn? I'm keeping a very, very up-to-date Post-it note.
Yeah. I'm just saying, if you know what remains in your deck, then it becomes a whole lot easier, I think, to get it right, in which case you're drawing 2 cards for 2 mana, which is really good. So cards like this drive me insane. Insane good or insane bad?
This is crackle levels of triggering me and my the randomness that I find fun. This is the randomness I find the opposite of fun.
Okay. I don't know. I think it's rewarding your deck knowledge, which I think is a good thing. I'm more on board with this than like a crackle kind of random that no matter what I do, it's just going to do its thing and I can't control it. This I can at least make an educated guess. And that is, I think, better. The one card I thought you were going to say as being like kind of weird and kind of out there was Grey Bow, the 5-mana taunt legendary, which has a death rattle. Give a random friendly minion death rattle, summon Grey Bow. So if you can keep minions on board, this thing just keeps going forever. If you can keep minions on board, and I don't think he fits into like a token Druid deck. I think other things are just better, but it's still a cool like iteration, like an idea.
Yeah, it can be countered because as death rattles can be. So I don't know. This is one I look at and I'm like, that's cool design, but I don't believe in it. I don't think this is gonna.
Oh no, I don't think it's gonna be good at all. But I think it's cool design. It's different, fair, anyways.
Fair. Honestly, I like the eclipses. You mentioned and I like them quite a bit. Lunar Eclipse they're both 2-mana cards. Lunar Eclipse is a 2-mana, deals 3 damage to a minion. Your next spell this turn costs 2 or less, and then Solar Eclipse is 2 mana. Your next spell this turn casts twice. And so Lunar Eclipse is good. It has that flex that we're used to from Druid, and 3 damage in a pinch. But there's an interesting combo with Solar Eclipse and Lunar Eclipse, where if you Lunar Eclipse into you Solar Eclipse into Lunar Eclipse for the spell reduction, you can get 4 mana off. Because taking 2 off 4/2, but with a naked Lunar Eclipse is not all that attractive. It's unless you're leading up to something, but I don't know. Demon Hunter is about to potentially hit you for 20 damage with a weapon, so right? I don't think you have time for that. But it's interesting. And then I like that they gave us a legendary Moonkin for 4 mana 2/2 that adds a Solar Eclipse, any Lunar Eclipse to your hand on its battle cry. So
right, and these are collectible cards too, because I think there's actually an achievement for casting. I think it's 6 eclipses in a turn. That's one of the Darkmoon Faire achievements that was added for Druids. So I think there's some
with the solar.
It's
eclipse,
doable, yeah.
Doubling the lunar eclipse cast.
It's definitely doable, but yeah, it's kind of interesting. Again, I'm really glad that they integrated the achievements into the expansions themselves to give you some cool stuff to try.
Yeah. It's some cool stuff. But before we move on, Josh, this is gonna be a thick episode. Let's take a quick break and go to our sponsor segment of the podcast.
I got the best deals anywhere.
Josh, I don't know if you're aware of this, but it's holiday season already.
Oh, I'm aware. It's the most wonderful time of the year.
It's the most. No. It's Switch. I'm going to get a DMCA claim because my voice is so on point.
You are
for that.
so close. Yeah, you were just a perfect pitch.
Don't mention Nightmare Before Christmas songs because then we're going to be here a while. I mean, safe to say though, I mean, this year is going to be a little different than years before. You know, we're all indoors more than usual. But I mean, it's kind of your best excuse to get your Hearthstone on and like pretty much never leave. And so why not get some cozy loungewear or undies from MeUndies? You know, you can really hone your new favorite deck in maximum comfort while not leaving your home. And maybe in my case, enjoying a little eggnog.
Honestly, the lounge pants are so comfortable. I mean, I live in Canada. It's been a little bit crazy this year in terms of weather. It's been like 20 degrees in November, which is not a thing that normally happens. 20 degrees is hot for everyone down in the States. And no matter what the temperature is, I wear my MeUndies lounge pants and it doesn't even matter. They make me warm when I'm cold and cold when I'm hot. I don't even know how it works. It's magic.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, the best thing about all these remote meetings is I can do them entirely in MeUndies.
Yeah, nobody knows what's down here.
You don't know. Folks on Twitch watching right now live, you actually see us in person. You don't know.
You don't know.
You don't know. All you know, I'll tell you this though, I'm comfortable. I'm real comfortable. That's all thanks to MeUndies.
That's all you need to say.
Hey, you know, I don't know about you, Joce, but like, you know, Christmas morning, open a new game, and I just kind of sit there and play it all day. Undies, lounge pants, or onesies? What's like your go-to for long gaming scenarios?
Oh, lounge pants for sure. Although the onesies are adorable.
They're absolutely adorbs. I was at one point, because last year I got the Disco Stormtrooper lounge pants. I was at one point told, it is time to wash those. I was like, no, they're so comfy. I want to wear them every day. So.
You can. You just have to wash them in between, Garrett. That's gross.
My washer takes a while. I don't want to go hours.
You don't want to go without. Yeah.
My lounge pants. They're so comfy. They're so freaking comfy. So you should go check them out, everybody. MeUndies has a great offer for our listeners. For any first-time purchasers, you can get 15% off and free shipping. On top of this, MeUndies has brand spanking new winter products this year. Get your cozy on with their new PJ sets and holiday themed prints. Keep an eye out for other new additions. To get your 15% off your first order and free shipping, go to MeUndies.com/TAC. That's MeUndies.com/TAC. You know, I was just talking about my Stormtrooper lounge pants. Joce, you know, obviously Hearthstone. Big hobby of mine, big passion. Star Wars, another one. Do you know what the other one is? You know what another big passion is that you just never want to talk to me about?
What is it, Garrett?
Cars.
Yeah.
Me and my cars and my car analogies. It means, unfortunately, I have to have car insurance. And when you've had the same car insurance or homeowners insurance for years, you know it's easy to get trapped into paying your premiums and not thinking about it. And that, it makes it easy to overpay and like not even realizing that you're overpaying. And that's where today's other sponsor, Gabby, comes in. You should go to Gabby.com/TAC and check them out right now. I've been with Geico since I got my, I'm going to name drop my car, my Focus RS back in 2018. That's so you know it's not just like a grocery getter. It can get groceries. It'll just get them home real quick.
I was like, I have no context for this. I don't know if that's good or bad.
It's a quick Focus. We'll just put it that way. Yeah.
Okay.
This ain't your grandmama's Focus, okay? Anyways, I went to Gabby.com/TAC. All I had to do was log in with my Geico account, and Gabby automatically pulled my autopilot C. And after like a few moments, Gabby showed me options to compare from providers like Progressive, Nationwide, Travelers, and more. And these comparisons were coverage to coverage. I wasn't going to lose anything that I currently had. And it turns out, Safeco will save me $218 on the exact same coverage. So you should go check them out because Gabby customers save $825 per year on average. And if they can't find you savings like they did for me, you'll at least know so you can like relax, knowing you have the best rate out there. It's totally free to check your rate. There's no obligation. Just take a few minutes right now and stop overpaying on your car and home insurance. Go to Gabby.com/TAC. That is GABI.com/TAC. We thank them for their support. We thank you for supporting the companies that support us here at The Angry Chicken. And now, Joss, let's get back to Hunter. So, it's Hunter. So what's the same is pretty obvious. They got some beast Joss. They got some weapons. But there's quite a bit different and unique coming to Hunter in Darkmoon Faire. I think you have more recently played Magic than me, but I know sometimes my Magic references are still lost on you. We're kind of getting Charge back, and we're getting like a straight up Magic reference in Trampling Rhino. Like 100% Magic reference here. Trampling Rhino is a 5-mana 5/5 with Rush, and after this attacks and kills a minion, excess damage hits the enemy hero. This is exactly how Trample works in Magic.
Yeah, I don't know where you got that I've played Magic more recently than you. But Trample is something I've heard you guys talking about, and yeah, this is exactly it.
Yeah. It's been a bit for me. It's been quite a while since I played Magic, but I have indeed seen a green card in Magic once in my life at least, so I am aware of what Trample is. But I thought that was kind of cool. But I'm filing this under Charge-ish because it's damage that could happen from hand attached to a minion. It's just a little more conditional than the Charge we already know of. Because obviously,
right. So the most it can be is 4, right? Because if you run this into a 1 health minion, then you can deal 4 to the enemy hero. Because the Trampling Rhino doesn't have to survive, right? It just has to attack and kill something.
Yes. And so yeah, you're right. The most you could do is no, because there's 0. Oh wait, no, that's health. Sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's no 0 health minions. Those are just dead.
No. Yeah, you are correct. Unless we get some sort of weird minion attack multiplying effects in the game at some point, the most you can hope for out of this to face is 4 damage because you attacked into a 1 health minion. From hand, it's been on board for a turn. Who cares? It's a minion at this point. Do what you want with it. I'm not going to tell you how to use your Rhino, okay? But this is unique. It's like conditional charge. Like, because it could be damage from hand based on the scenario that you're looking at.
Right.
I find that kind of cool. But then we also have Maxima Blastenheimer, which was someone with the last name Weinzerl. I like this. But Blastenheimer is a 6-mana 4/4 legendary minion for hunters in Darkmoon Faire with a battle cry that reads, summon a minion from your deck. It attacks the enemy hero. And then it just gives up on life. Then it dies.
Yeah, so this is one we talked about last week, and it was also in the animation that they started the reveal season with, alongside one of the other hunter cards, which is, I'm totally blanking on the name right now, but the Darkmoon Tonk is the other card that it was featured with, which is that would do 8 damage to the enemy hero, and then would deal 4 random 2 damage missiles at enemies, which could be the hero or could be other things on the board.
Yeah, because that's a death rattle on the Tonk.
Yeah, exactly. So now that we've seen that Hunter also got Jewel of N'Zoth, these death rattle things are starting to make a lot more sense because that could just be crazy.
Yeah, and if you're not familiar with Jewel of N'Zoth, for the audio listeners, it's an 8-mana epic spell for Hunter that summons 3 friendly death rattle minions that died this game. And so, yeah, I kind of am wondering, Joss, is Death Rattle Hunter returning? Like in full force?
I mean, it's still not as good, I think, as it was when Feign Death was in Standard. Obviously, over on the Wild side, there's going to be all kinds of shenanigans that you can do with Death Rattle things because Death Rattle Hunter is still a thing on Wild. So I think that there may not be enough to do like a straight up Death Rattle Hunter on the Standard side, but I think there's still some interesting things you can do. I'm a big fan of Death Rattle Hunter. I thought it was a lot of fun, and just, going back to kind of old school N'Zoth type things, it's very exciting. So especially alongside the Tonk, I think the Tonk is such a fun card.
Did you play with Tonka trucks when you were a kid?
Yeah, I definitely did.
It was more my brother's bag. I was More Ninja Turtles kid. Okay, so maybe you're not completely sold on Death Rattle Hunter, but they've certainly piqued your interest. Can I interest you in Secret Hunter? Because
absolutely. Mystery Winner is like the greatest card ever.
I like that that's what you focus on, but sure. We're getting a legendary weapon that discovers and casts secrets.
But it's not that good. It's too slow.
I get that every time they put a minion in the game that has like a nicer, longer haircut that is a color your hair has been, that you just assume it's a nod to you.
I did. It's like whether it's actually inspired by me or not. I mean, it is a Draenei and like for the Horde, so whatever. But
I have seen you make this exact smile. This is your evil. I'm about to crack another legendary on pack opening day and make Garrett Cuss smile. Like I've been there. I've seen this. But Mystery Winner is a 1-mana 1/1 common minion for Hunter with a battle cry Discover a Secret, which is like only the beginning of secret shenanigans in Hunter with Darkmoon.
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing why I think Mystery Winner is really good. I think Petting Zoo, we talked about last week. Petting Zoo, I think, is pretty decent, especially now that we've seen Mystery Winner be revealed. But I think that the rifle, the legendary the weapon, 4-mana 2/2 weapon, after your hero attacks, discover a secret and cast it. I think it's too slow. I think I'd rather just have Eaglehorn bows because Eaglehorn bows are going to do more damage and get more durability as your secrets are popped. So it's like you're not even necessarily like losing something when your secrets get popped. Like you're gaining the charge on your weapon. I just think that Eaglehorn bow is just better in a Secret Hunter because I also I think it's going to want to be more aggressive. I don't think it's going to want to be a sit back and wait kind of a deck. So I think that the rifle's just too slow.
Ringling's rifle, by the way, the name of it. I keep calling it Ringling's rifle, and it has nothing to do with the...
It's because of the circus.
The circus or the college I went to.
You went to a college? Okay.
You're not aware of this? The joke has always been, you went to clown college? And it's like, no, Ringling is an art school that is also in Sarasota, Florida, which has a lot of ties to the Ringling Circus, but it is not a circus college. Sorry. No one cared at all about everything that just left my mouth. But I mean, yeah, I'm with you. Like I look at Ringling's rifle and I hear everything you just said about Eaglehorn bow, and I go, yeah, I would rather have Eaglehorn bow, but I wouldn't mind having this. And I think I just put it all. I think I put it all. If it's a Secret Hunter deck, I think I have 3 weapons, and this is one of the 3. Is kind of my thought, because it's not a bad thing. Like, yeah, 4 mana for a 2-attack weapon with only 2 durability is on the low end of the spectrum, but you're getting to discover a secret, which in terms of random spell generation is already better because you have some choice in the matter. And chances are, if you're running these secrets, you're probably trying to make something synergistic happen with the secrets because of what we're seeing with some of these new cards, especially Petting Zoo.
Yeah, I think honestly, if this had been a 3/2 weapon, a 3-attack 2 durability, then I would be totally on board. Then I think that's worth 4 mana. I just think it's a little bit too expensive for a 2/2.
Is this the first time on the episode we talk about maybe it will be because they've been buffing cards?
They have been. That's true. So, and especially since it's a one-off because it is a legendary weapon as opposed to being able to put 2 in your deck, I think it's a lot safer to buff something that's going to be only 1 copy, right?
Yeah,
I think that's a safer bet.
Dude, I can totally see a bucket in duels that is just 3 of these. You're doing a Hunter run in duels, and you're looking at those secret buckets, and one of them just comes up, and it's just
all rifles.
All rifles. Just 3 Ringlings rifles and joy. Yeah, Hunter once again. It's like as if they didn't have enough competitive archetypes. Looking good for like. Getting to try new things in Darkmoon Faire. But yeah, those seem to be the most Death Rattle and Secret seem to be the most obvious archetypes. And I'm just curious about these charge adjacent effects that are happening with Hunter. But
yeah, they've actually done a lot of things with secrets across multiple classes, and I'm really a big fan of. I think we're going to end up with like Secret Hunter, Secret Mage, Secret Rogue, like across the board.
Yeah. Well, let's move right along and talk about what's going on with Mage. And to answer the question of what's the same, I would like to lead with random bullshit. Jocelyn, it's still the same with Mage.
I wasn't sure if you were actually going to say it or not, but yeah.
It ain't the F word. It's allowed on the show as far as I'm concerned. And even then, if it's a guest, we're not going to censor them.
Yeah, it's very much, they leaned into the random with Mage this year. Deck of Lunacy is crazy, and there's probably a way to build this deck that's absolutely insane. So Deck of Lunacy is a 2-mana legendary, which means you can only do it one time, but I think you only need to do it one time. And it says transform spells in your deck into ones that cost 3 more, but they keep their original costs. So for instance, if you fill your deck full of 1-cost spells, they could potentially transform into fireballs, but they would still cost 1. So I feel like you can, especially at the higher mana cost, because there's a lot of like low cost like duplication, but there's only like, in the 10 mana slot, you've got like Pyroblast, right? Like there's not a lot of, and Yogg, Puzzle Box of Yogg. So you could put like Flame Strikes in your deck and then get 7 mana Pyroblasts and Puzzle Boxes. So there, like, I think there's ways to build your deck to target the spells that you want to get discounted. And so I think that this deck, this card, even though technically Deck of Lunacy is random, I think that there's going to be a way to build this that it might potentially be competitive. And I think that's going to make Garrett really angry.
I'll just be hiding in Battlegrounds and duels where
yeah,
I can either embrace the randomness or it cannot hurt me.
Yeah, there's another 7 mana spell that they're getting right now too, which is the Mask of Cthulhu. So you could again put those, Mask of Cthulhu into your deck, and then if you get the Deck of Lunacy and cast it, then they could turn into Yogg boxes, or they could turn into Pyroblasts, or if you don't draw your Deck of Lunacy, Mask of Cthulhu and Flame Strike are still fine to cast for their base cost and fine in your deck. Like, yeah. it's crazy.
It's pretty nutty. It's pretty nutty for sure. I mean, Mask of Cthulhu as far as random damage is concerned, because it's a 7 mana deal, 10 damage randomly split among all enemies. That's pretty tame. We've seen cards like this in the past. This is pretty par for the course for Hearthstone. This is not the type of thing that makes me go, oh, come on, this is too random. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, Mask of Cthulhu is, well, I mean, basically it's Rhino without the body, but also without the build around condition, right?
Yeah.
And it can technically hit face, which Rhino cannot hit face.
Well, there you go.
So, yeah, there's some differences, some similarities. I think it's a fine card in and of itself, but yeah, it does have that random amongst all enemies. It's like arcane missiles on steroids. And I'm assuming would be impacted by spell damage, which we've seen spell damage Mage totally being a thing. So yeah.
Yeah. And then there's, again, secrets. There's a lot of secret things and just secrets in general by mostly secret things. We're only getting one new, like old school, just it's a secret card. But starting with Game Master, 2 mana, 2/3 common mage minion. The first secret you play each turn costs 1. They're getting a new secret called Rigged Fair Game, which is a 3 mana epics mage spell secret that reads, if you didn't take any damage during your opponent's turn, draw 3 cards.
I really, really like that.
Yeah.
Secret design. It's like, it's basically shoring up the way that mage secrets work, right? It's like, because right now there's no downside to not attacking face, right? Like if you think they have ice barrier or flame ward, then you're like, okay, I just don't attack face and I'm not going to trigger the secret. Or, you know, I can play minions instead of playing spells, and or vice versa. If I think it's mirror entity versus counterspell, like there's like ways to test. And this is now another condition you have to potentially test, where it's like you could if you put rigged fair game up against or up with Flame Ward, then it's like, well, whether you attack or you don't attack, I'm going to get something out of it. Either I'm going to clear your board or I'm going to draw 3 cards. And both of those are pretty terrible scenarios for your opponent. So I like that this is adding like another test condition to the mage secrets. I think it's really strong.
Yeah, I do too. They're also getting a Cult Conjurer, a 4-mana 4/4 epic mage minion, battle cry. If you control a secret, summon a copy of this. So you get 2 4/4s for your 4 mana. It seems pretty decent. And then Sage, Seer of Darkmoon, new 6-mana 5/5 legendary mage minion, battle cry, draw 1 card, upgraded for each friendly secret that has triggered this game, which is
this is so good.
Pretty unique as far as secret effects are concerned. Like typically it's like how many secrets are currently in play, or is a secret currently in play, or did you play a secret, or are you going to play a secret? It's never been like how many secrets did you play, or in this case,
well, not only did you play, but we're triggered, which is the difference, because we had a Cabal Crystal Runner was for every secret you played, it got cheaper. But this one is for every secret that's triggered. So again, like you couldn't just like put up an ice block and get any sort of benefit off of Sage, because that obviously would not be triggered by turn 6. But you could have, rigged fair game, flame ward, ice barrier. There's all kinds of stuff that mages are already doing and that you're going to want to be doing if you're playing a secret mage. That by the time you play this, even if you play it on curve on turn 6, there's a very real chance, especially with Game Master in play, that's going to make the first secret you play cost less. There's a very real scenario where you could be playing a 5/5 on turn 6 and drawing 3 cards. Like that's a really, really powerful, especially in a secret mage, which traditionally has been a little bit more of an aggressive deck that tends to potentially run out of resources and need refill. This card is absolutely insane. Like it's shoring up all the weakness of secret mage. So
yeah, I forgot about Crystal Runner, but that card was good for the same reason. Is like, it's just like, are you just playing your deck? Like it's not worried about what you currently have in play. It cares about just playing your deck over the course of the game. Yeah. And Sage, Seer of Darkmoon, same thing here. I'm going to circle back around on Deck of Lunacy real quick, Joss, because chat room mentioned it, and I'm now seeing over on Hearthstone that Deck of Lunacy is not mage only spells.
Ah, okay.
Which means it's absolute random bullshit. Like this is tier S random BS.
I mean, and this is the kind of thing. So last week we talked about ring toss, and there were a whole bunch of comments on the YouTube video. I know how Discover works, you guys, but it's these kind of things that happen in Hearthstone. It's like, okay, we have a mage card that does a thing that has to do with spells, but it's not class specific. Then we've got another one that has secrets, which many classes have secrets, but apparently this is class specific. When in the last expansion, we had things that had you discover mage minions or discover mage spells, and they very specifically on the card said, discover a mage minion. So like, they don't always work the way you think they're going to work, and that's why we have these conversations.
That's fine, Joss, but 7 years, and folks will still comment being like, no, it always works like this. The only thing consistent about Hearthstone is that it is not consistent.
Yeah. So, okay, then Deck of Lunacy becomes a whole lot less powerful. And I think that that's a good thing because, there's going to be enough craziness. The fact that they even put Yogg in the game with the spinning of the wheel. I don't know if you saw Garrett, but Tice might actually be, because he in the theory crafting streams today cast Yogg and got the Rod of Roasting, and therefore might actually be the first person in the world, given that it was the theory crafting stream as opposed to when the expansion is actually out, to kill his opponent with Yogg.
I'm sure somebody on Team 5 has done that already, but
yes.
But, is what it is. All right.
Because that's in there. I would have maybe expected Deck of Lunacy to only be mage cards, because then it is a kind of a build around card, which I think is interesting. However, possibly too powerful.
Well, moving along, Joss, if Darkmoon Faire, like, and talking about new cards, is an analogy of presents under the Christmas tree, I would like to now open the one that to me looks very, very much like an N64 shaped box, which is Paladin. I would like to talk about Paladin. My favorite class in Hearthstone and World of Warcraft. Now that I think about it, I think I officially usurped time played on my Paladin than my old Hunter main in World of Warcraft. Anyways, what's the same in Paladin? Well, Pure Paladin is still a thing. Not getting a ton of new cards, but we are getting High Exarch Yrel.
Sorry, that's actually High Exarch Ziliax. Come on now.
You're damn right it is. 8 mana, 7/5, Battle Cry. If your deck has no neutral cards, gain Rush, Lifesteal, Taunt, and Divine Shield.
This card is pretty nutty. And I think it's going to be really good. Even though it's an 8 mana card, I think it's going to fit in with Pure Paladin and what they're already doing. They're doing a lot of stuff with Librams, which means that this might not even just be a 7 attack, 5 health minion, because by that point in the game, your Librams are going to be a lot cheaper. So you can potentially buff this up a couple times and get a really big heal as well as a pretty big removal card. I think that this is really good. And I think it's going to slot very easily into Pure Paladin. And again, I think Vigil and I were talking, although we hadn't seen this card last week, but we were talking just about Paladin in general. And there's some space, I think, in Pure Paladin to sub some cards out. Like they're still in a place where they've got a few slots of suboptimal cards, and then you see something like Yrel and you're just like, yes, please. Get out of here, all of you mediocre things. Make space.
It reminds me a lot of the flexibility of Highlander lists. Obviously, got duplicates because it's not the same. It's not 1-to-1 with Highlander, but Highlander has, like, over the entire Hearthstone history been the archetype, and didn't matter what class that it lived in, where you got to kind of put your own flourish on it, put your own stamp on it, make it your own. Because with 31 ofs, it wasn't a perfect science. You could tweak. There were places where you could, as previously mentioned. And the same goes for Pure Paladin. I think that's why we only see one strictly pure card being added. Technically, anything that's Paladin is a pure card.
Is a pure Paladin card,
yeah. But Yrel here is the only one that has like a Pure Paladin trigger. And I think there's a big reason for that, because like we've been scraping by, like finding just the right amount of Paladin only cards to make Pure Paladin a thing. And thank God for Librams. It put us up over the top and made it an archetype. But with like, as you mentioned, this works. This is going in decks.
Yes.
and like we were already with the past expansion playing Pure Paladin lists that didn't have every single pure card in it. Depending on which list you were running. And so, there's absolutely room for adaptation. There's room for customization. There's room for flex within your card slots. And bring on Yrel, putting her in. Let's do it. It's good art. Murloc Paladin. I wanted to mention, Joce, as to what might be new again. Obviously, Murloc Paladin archetype we've been playing with. Some people even still are. It's not an overrepresented archetype if you're going over looking at the statistics on Nature's Free Play, but there are still a few Murloc faithful keeping the dream alive. It's a wet.
They're going to be so happy about this.
Oh my God, I almost said it's a wet dream. It's a wet, fishy smelling dream, but it's still alive. But Red Skill Dragon
That's
Tamer.
Not better.
Just talk. I need to do words better, Joce. Or am I already doing them great? Because I wonder. Hopefully, someone choked like on their morning coffee driving to work. I hope. Laughing at that. Enjoy the gaffes, everybody. I'm here all week. Red Scale Dragon Tamer, though, is bringing a really important tutor effect to Murloc Paladin. So Red Scale Dragon Tamer is a 2-mana, 2/3 common Paladin Murloc with a Death Rattle. Draw a dragon. Scale Lord Jocelyn is still standard legal. And
it's a Galakron card that never really saw play, right? Because
we've been talking about it more as a hopeful inclusion for Battlegrounds. Than we have as anything we want to put in a standard deck.
Yeah, exactly. As anything that in standard Hearthstone. But I think that this combination now is really interesting, and they're in opposite years, right? So we're not always going to have this exact deck for the next 2 years.
Yeah, Scale Lord is not
good. Scale Lord is going to rotate.
Yeah, it's not long for this world, right?
Yeah.
But at least
if this is crazy, which I think it might be crazy, at least it's not going to be around forever.
So the most popular Murloc Paladin list that I know of is currently running Scale Lord. It's just that Murloc Paladin is not a popular archetype.
Right, but I think that the Dragon Tamer is going to bump it up in power level.
Freaking movie. If you don't remember what Scale Lord does, it's a 5-mana 5/6 dragon in Paladin only. It's a Paladin only minion. Battle cry, give your Murlocs Divine Shield. And so Red Scale Dragon Tamer is going to tutor out Scale Lord if it's the only dragon in your deck, and it sure as hell makes a lot of sense to have Scale Lord be the only dragon in your Murloc Paladin deck.
Yeah, so then you're going to have about 4 turns, including turn 2 or whenever you can play the Dragon Tamer, where you're going to be basically filling your board with Murlocs, and then you're probably on turn 5, you're going to be able to just play Scale Lord on curve and protect your board with Divine Shields. And then, you know, if you have to make some trades, if they throw down a taunt or something to try to slow you down, it's okay because you're not actually losing your minions in the process. So you can just, you know, make those couple of attacks to clear out their taunts, and then you can send the rest of your Murlocs face, and then maybe even potentially on the next turn, because it's Scale Lord is a rare and the Red Scale Dragon Tamer is a common, which means you can have doubles of both. So you could have tutored out both of your Scale Lords in your first 4 turns and play them back to back. So
that's a pretty perfect scenario, but yeah.
Yeah, it definitely is a pretty perfect scenario, but you're going to be mulliganing for this card, I think, for the Dragon Tamer.
Aggressively.
Yes.
And the other thing that might be new again is I think we may... There's an argument for the return of Dude Pally.
If nothing else, it's going to shore up Dude Pally over on the wild side. There's a lot. I mean, Dude Paladin might be my favorite iteration of Paladin decks. I really, really enjoyed playing Dude Paladin when it was like back in the Quartermaster days.
Yeah, muster for battle in the Quartermaster. Like that was just so much fun. I've always liked token decks in Magic, and that was like the first time one really kind of worked in Hearthstone. Yes. So I guess we had Savage Roar Druids doing
Druids
stuff from the get-go, but it's Druid. This doesn't count. Savage Roar is cheating.
Anyways, Dude Pally was super fun. It was in a class that Garrett paid attention to, so he remembers it.
Oh,
and
thanks, Joss.
But it was a really, really fun deck to play, and I think that anything that interacts with Silverhand recruits obviously is going to be very flavorful for Paladin, and I like that they're revisiting the Paladin hero power and interacting with it specifically. So we actually got 4 cards that are going to interact with your Silverhand recruits, though the Carnival Barker not directly, but the other 3 very specifically say Silverhand recruits. So again, more support over on the wild side, and hopefully enough that there's some iteration of Paladin that plays around with Silverhand recruits, because I think they're really cool and fun.
Yeah, before let's just move straight on before I remind you that the only reason Jocelyn remembers things from every class is she's been personally slighted by all of them. But the reason I'm really excited about that, is there's a couple reasons, but Lathraxian, the new legendary, is a big part of it. So Lathraxian, the Redeemed, is a 5-mana 5/5 legendary Paladin demon. Not up under WoW lore. Lathraxian is actually pretty freaking interesting over in WoW. But battle cry for the rest of the game, after you summon a Silverhand recruit, give it Divine Shield, which is exciting, but not like that exciting, but still exciting. But when you pair it with things like Day at the Fair, which can summon 3 Silverhand recruits or 5 if you corrupted, Carnival Barker, which is going to be buffing those Silverhand recruits by +1/+2 because they are a 1 health minion that's being summoned, or even Balloon Merchant, which is a 4-mana 3/5 battle cry, give your Silverhand recruits +1 attack and Divine Shield, although not as exciting with Lathraxian, but still a lot of dude power coming into Paladin here. We got 1 pure card, we got 4 dude cards.
Yeah, and although I think that there's possibly an argument for Lathraxian being played in anything that's running hand buffs, so anything like Pure Paladin, anything that's doing Libram things, because those decks really do rely on you sticking a body to the board. And so putting a 1/1 on board is annoying for some classes already when you can just make a body every turn, but now you're going to make an extra sticky body every turn. And I think that I think that's going to find a lot of play in a deck that's trying to buff its own minions. So I think we might see Lothraxion even outside of Dude Paladin decks.
If you're buffing your own minions and you become sticky, and there you go. There's a joke there. You can fill in the blanks. I would be remiss if I didn't mention Oh My Yogg. 1 mana epic paladin spell. Secret: when your opponent casts a spell, they instead cast a random one of the same cost. I don't think
Are you going to embrace this?
No, I just don't think I've ever been like more okay with something that bared the name Yogg. Like, this is fine. This is tame in the grand scheme of Yogg.
Is it because you envision yourself playing the paladin and therefore you are doing the shenanigans to others as opposed to having the Yogg shenanigans done to you?
This is such a tame shenanigan. This is like a shenan. You don't even end the again. It's just shenan. This is half a shenanigan.
This is shenans.
Shenan. This is my friend Shenan. Not Shannon, it's Shenan. No, it's just really tame. Like, in the grand scheme of Yogg cards we've had, like, this is like, wait, that's all? Yogg is in the name of this card, and that's it? I mean, I've been raised in the world of Hearthstone, Jocelyn. See, when Yogg is on here, 1 mana, Oh My Yogg. Oh, it's got Yogg on it. This must cast 27 spells until someone dies for 1 mana.
Well, yeah. So I do think that this is a really good card, though, because it can be super disruptive. Like, we just talked with Mage about how they're going to be wanting to cast spells, about how they're going to want to.
Wait, Mage wants to cast spells? Oh my God.
I'm not 100% sure how this would interact with something like the deck of Lunacy, where it's transforming spells, but they keep their original cost. So if they try to like fireball you and you have Oh My Yogg up, does it cast a 1 mana spell or a 4 mana spell? I don't really know how that interaction would work. But one thing that we did talk about with Mage and with Hunter, and we're going to talk about in a little bit with Rogue as well, is just the idea of like secret things. So if a Mage very specifically or a Hunter very specifically has a deck built around controlling secrets, triggering secrets, all that kind of stuff, and then you put as a Paladin Oh My Yogg as your secret, they try to do that, and then regardless of what the 2 or 3 mana spell is that they casted instead, you're disrupting their whole entire deck mechanism. So I think this is going to see play. I think it's a good secret, and I really like the way that this plays out. And if you can get it up like later on in the game and you're going to have them, they're trying to flame strike your board and instead they can't. And then it ends up doing something where you can get lethal because your board wasn't destroyed. Like, I think there's a lot of interesting play around Oh My Yogg that I think it, gets rid of the problem of randomness. I think it's good randomness in this case.
Yeah, and I just think it's an interesting like combat trick, which is more a term for Magic. We don't have instants like we do in Magic over there, but like it's still like it's probably gonna trip up your opponent. They probably put that spell in their deck for a reason, unless they're playing Mage, and it's probably gonna do something they would have rather not done.
Yeah.
So. That's cool in its own right. I'm not really sure where this goes in any Paladin decks I'm particularly interested in running, but still, I think it's fine. It's perfectly fine. I've never been more on board with the Yogg card, I guess. Priest, what's the same? They're still cheating at Hearthstone, Jocelyn.
You're so salty.
No,
as much as you give me crap for being salty about Demon Hunter, man.
Priest
you
and
Mage and Priest, you have you have such terrible relationships with those classes right now.
Priest and Mage, man, like Priest has just been so one note for so long, and it's just like they're still just gonna keep doing the same thing.
Yeah, although I do think Gahoon is interesting. Gahoon is surprising to me because this is a very Warlock thing to do. So Gahoon is an 8/8 for 8, whose battle cry reads draw 2 cards and they cost health instead of mana, which we had seen. I'm totally going to blank on what it was called in Warlock, but there was a spell you could cast in Warlock that basically did this same thing, that your spells would then cost health instead of mana. So I think in a class, especially a class that's known for healing, this is not nearly the downside that it would be in some other classes. And I think it's really interesting.
It is, I find a little odd because of just how much they've been hammering home class identity. This is the class's identity. But to me, it makes sense. Like, our priest has always been about, holy and shadow, the light and shadow, I guess, or the void. Sorry, I'm mixing up all my fictional
light and the void.
terms.
Yep.
But yeah, no, I think it's a cool card for sure. And in a way, is like I am now like, it's somewhat salty, but it's also where I've kind of filed priests away. They're kind of the classic. It's to break the rules. They feel a little cheaty, and this is like a way the priest gets to cheat. Like, oh, you don't have the mana? That's cool. Sacrifice your health to cast these 2 spells that you just drew. The way I think priest is really staying the same, and honestly, I think phoning in a little bit is the nameless one, the new legendary 4 mana 4/4 battle cry. Choose a minion, become a 4/4 copy of it, then silence it. Like, this is, man, we've seen so many priest shenanigans along this line. This is full on shenanigans, by the way. This is not a Shannon. But yeah, like, I'm sure we're going to see this.
Yeah, we should also, well, absolutely, because it's very much, it's like Spellbreaker, but then you get whatever the effect is that you wanted to silence, right? So, I mean, you get to choose a minion, become a 4/4 copy of it, and then silence it. And just to clarify, because there were some questions about this, the version that's silenced is the minion that you targeted, not what the nameless one turns into. So very specifically, if you target a death rattle with this, then the nameless one will become a 4/4 copy of whatever you target, will gain the death rattle, and then the death rattle will be silenced off of the original. So I think
the most power it could have. Like, if you read this and think of the most powerful way it could be interpreted, that's how it works.
Exactly. And I mean, you can just straight up silence it. If it's like, I think in the reveal video, it was silencing a ridiculously huge Van Cleef. That's definitely a thing that you can do as well, is that you would just become a 4/4 copy of Van Cleef, and then the original would be silenced down to its normal, less beefy form. So you can use this basically same use case as Spellbreaker with 1 more health and potentially an upside.
I call that a Van Clean, by the way. You wipe away all the buffs.
You could also use this with minions in your own deck, silencing your own stuff if it only cared about making copies of it. So it's got a little bit of like faceless manipulator vibes too. So yeah. I think this is kind of cool.
Yeah, it's neat. I just don't. I was kind of hoping for Priest to get shaken up, but at this point, I don't think it's going to happen until some cards kind of rotate out of Priest. I think they're going to kind of keep doing what they've been doing.
What do you think about the Idol of Yasharaj and the Blood of Gahoon, the ones that are going to be making copies of minions in your deck and putting them out onto the battlefield?
I think I will not particularly enjoy my games against this archetype. But yeah, Idol of Yasharaj, 8 mana, epic pre-spell, summon a 10/10 copy of a minion in your deck. Blood of Gahoon, 9 mana, epic 8/8 priest elemental with taunt, and at the end of your turn, summon a 5/5 copy of a minion in your deck. So if I idle into Blood of Gahoon, it's just gnarly. It's just gnarly. Yeah, I mean, traditionally, this is honestly a thing I like doing. But I've been so turned off a priest for the last year that I'm feeling a little personally
affected. Even this won't bring you back, even though it's a mechanic that you like to do? You're just like, no, it's got a white border. I'm out.
I still have to build this around priest as it exists, and it just makes me feel dirty.
Nah.
Listen, I'm fully admitting this is a personal thing. This is a very personal thing. It's fine. I don't think you're a bad person for priest. I think you're just responsible for more of my Battlegrounds time. And that's fine. I'm having a good time. Thank you. Thank you for forcing me to play more of other modes. But yeah, it's going to be big. But it's also going to be slow, right? Like Idol of Yasharaj is 8 mana.
They are slow. Yeah.
Unless I guess you pull Idol with Gahoon, and then you could take an 8 health hit to Idol, but Gahoon is also 8 mana
to summon a 10/10. Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually relatively fair. The one I'm looking at, the reason I'm focused on Nameless one is it's 4 mana. It's doing typical pre-shenanigans. I think Nameless one just makes sense. I think it's going to find a home day one. I think it's probably going to stay there. I think we're going to be seeing a lot of Nameless ones Well,
Yeah.
we're going to be seeing a lot of whatever the Nameless One turns into in Silences.
Yeah.
But no, I think the Cahoon and the Idol of Yashiraj and the Blood of Cahoon, I think that's all fine. It's fair. It's slow. You're going to have to wait for the power that these cards bring, and I think that's totally fine. Like I was trying to play it. I'm trying to put on a show, Joss. You caught me.
I know. I really want to figure out what a Cahoon deck looks like, because I think that there's a lot of cool and interesting stuff here. And I'm also kind of excited that they included Cahoon as an old god, because if you guys don't play World of Warcraft, Cahoon is a relatively new addition to the old god family.
They included him as a blood god. It's very strictly says there, Jocelyn. Cahoon the blood god.
Well, but he's in an old god expansion. And so he basically, Cahoon is the manufactured old god that the Titans created to test. So it's, kind of a dark, little bit of a downside to the Titans. They've always looked like the good guys in Azeroth lore, but then, we came across this testing facility with an old god in the bottom, and it's a little bit like... Ooh, okay.
Did you
so I'm glad that he's in there.
Did you see the flavor text on Cahoon the Blood God?
I did not.
As I knock over an empty can on my desk. All of the other old gods used to laugh and call him names. They never let poor Cahoon join in any old god games. Is the official flavor text on Cahoon the Blood God. It is incredible. It is so good. Also,
I'm down.
Really, really, really liked the Cahoon fight. That has stuck with me. Even at the end of BFA.
Oh, man, I hated that fight.
It's such a creepy, awesome room. He's sticking out of the wall like a weird sphincter. It's kind of gross, but it's awesome still at the same time.
Yeah, he totally has butthole face.
All right. I mean, I wasn't going to just say it like that, but sure. Sure, why not, Joss? Why not? As we move along to Rogue, which you won't know if they have butthole face because they're stealthed. So what's the same with Rogue? Stealth. Sweet Tooth. 2 mana, 3/2. Corrupt, gain +2 attack and stealth. Stealth Rogue. Getting more stealth. Oh, Cora wrote the flavor text for Cahoon. Awesome. Nice. Well done, Cora. Well done.
One thing I think that we haven't actually talked about yet, maybe we have, but now that we've seen all of the corrupt cards, what are your thoughts on just corrupt as a mechanic? Because I think personally it seems a little bit slow, because things have to be in your hand and then you have to play something more expensive in order to get the effect. The effects are generally pretty good, but I don't know if corrupt is really worth it. What do you think?
I do find it a little awkward, but because we've seen mostly single use corrupts, but we've also seen building corrupts that continue, right? And so that anytime I see something with flexibility, I kind of go, okay, you have legs, I think, because it means you could kind of continue to tweak it. Sweet Tooth specifically, I think, is a rather poor example. Because the turn I'm the most interested in playing this with Corrupt is turn 3, because that's kind of when it's like the best, the most bang for my buck as early as possible. And then it's weird because I have a hanging mana on turn 3, which can cause recounts in the state of Florida.
Well, I guess you could coin out a 3 mana card on turn 2, but I feel like the coin is just so useful in Rogue that you wouldn't ever want to do that. So then if you're going to play it on turn, that's the only way to play it corrupted on turn 3,
old
right?
School coin SI7 agent on turn 2 for removal, but when was the last time we did that and we're happy about it?
Yeah. So I don't know. I feel like it would probably be a turn 4 play, which means it's turn 5 before you're actually going to swing in with this. So I don't know. I'm not sold on Sweet Tooth.
No, I don't think so either. I imagine we're getting a little extra stealth in our Rogue. Also, Cloak of Shadows gives your hero stealth for 1 turn for 3 mana. It's a new spell in Rogue, but which
is pretty cool.
It is cool, but also it's not really what the stealth deck is about. But it is cool in its own way.
Oh no! This to me is more like ice block whenever you think you might need it.
Yeah. And also, I just shout out. How did we go this long without Cloak of Shadows being a Rogue card?
Right? That was my exact thought when I saw this too. Like, this is so roguey. This is what rogues in Warcraft do. Like, oh, I think I'm going to die. Poof. Gone.
Such an inaccurate representation of the rogue noise. I can't even right now.
Okay, Garrett, you do it better then.
It's remarkably like the sound of things powering down in Star Wars.
Yeah, it kind of is.
But like faster with a little bit more of air noise. Anyways,
A little
matter.
more.
Yes. Yes. But Cloak of Shadows, I'm just happy to see it. Combo shenanigans. We're getting more combo shenanigans because rogue, gonna rogue, like Tenwu, the red smoke. This freaking cool legendary minion here. 2 mana, 3/2 legendary for rogue. Battle cry, return a friendly minion to your hand. It costs 1 this turn. Cool. This minion only costs 2. Probably gonna have an extra mana.
Yeah, and it's really interesting because you kind of get to like weigh the pros and cons of playing something in that same turn, which you might not necessarily want to do, and getting the discount versus holding it in your hand to use it at the opportune time and then paying the full mana cost for it, right? So I think it's going to be interesting to see how this actually finds its way into decks, because I think that there's, you know, big upside but big downside too, and it's going to pay off again if you can find something you want to play again in the same turn and, you know, has a very high mana cost. Like I don't know, I think there's some really interesting stuff here.
Or just extra
I'm stoked.
Extra value from your combo minions that have survived.
Yeah, exactly.
Or with even within the same turn, you know, if you're talking a higher mana turn, to weave Tenwu in. Not that you should use it on Prize Plunderer, but Prize Plunderer is another example of some new combo stuff we're getting. It's a 1 mana 2/1 in Rogue. Combo, deal 1 damage to a minion for each other card you played this turn. So little minion itself, but potentially big upside depending on this is a card that can become increasingly more impactful the longer the game goes and the more cards you play. So that's cool in its own way. And then we've got Swindle, a new 2 mana spell for Rogue, draw a spell, combo, and a minion. So not a hyper specific draw effect, but still a specific draw effect. Which is something I'm always interested in. By the way.
And again, you're drawing 2 for 2, right? So
yes. On combo.
Very good on combo. Yeah. Well, I'm assuming you're going to want to combo this, much like, what was the one we talked about earlier? Now I'm totally blanking on all these new card names as I frantically scroll higher and higher.
You're speaking like someone who experiences a lot of luck and may get first places with Alexstrasza. If you think you will never be in a scenario where you're like, my hand is booty, I need to just cast Swindle now and hope for the best.
Fair enough.
But, yeah. I know primarily an audio show, Joce, but what do you think about the art on Swindle? Because it's an adorable little blood elf child squeezing the crap out of a plush Murloc at the fair.
Yeah, obviously it's the best thing ever. I mean, if Ring Toss wasn't a card, then Swindle would be up there for the most adorable card art. And even then, it's like half the card art is cute, right? Because the other half is the actual swindling part, but the little child hugging the Murloc is just glorious. Yeah, it's good stuff. And then as far as kind of like what's new, you know, maybe a new archetype coming in, we're getting some interesting deck manipulation. And there's already like still pre-existing, still standard legal deck manipulation available to Rogue. And that's why I'm excited about things like Malevolent Strike and Grand Empress Shek'Zara. So Malevolent Strike is a new 5 mana epic rogue spell. Destroy a minion, costs 1 less for each card in your deck that didn't start there. But more exciting is Grand Empress Shek'Zara, 6 mana 5/7 legendary minion in Rogue. Battle cry. Discover a card in your deck and draw all copies of it. And so... Togwaggle scheme, Joce. Choose a minion. Shuffle 1 copy into your deck. Upgrades each turn. There's definitely going to be some scheming going on. And I think, so for me, the thing that I was most excited for alongside Grand Empress is actually the ticket seller. Now, it's not a battle cry. It's a death rattle minion. It's a 3 mana 4/3 death rattle. Shuffle 3 tickets into your deck. that summon a 3/3 bear doll when drawn. So these are going to work the same as the Faldori Strider minions, except for, again, the Faldori Strider was a battle cry as opposed to the Ticket Seller, which is a death rattle. But you could potentially shuffle these tickets into your deck, and then when you use Shekzara, you can discover the ticket, you draw the ticket, it'll summon the 3/3s, and then you'll draw cards out of your deck to refill, basically. So like, let's say you still have the 3 tickets in your deck, Shekzara could discover the ticket, draw those 3 tickets as well, so you'll get 3 3/3s and 3 cards in your hand. So I feel like that's a really potentially powerful combo with this Ticket Seller. And then if you're going to be togwaggly scheming more Ticket Sellers into your deck to put more tickets in as they die, like I think Ticket Rogue might be a thing.
Yeah. And also, like, back to the, like you were talking about, by the way, I think it's Ticket Master. I don't know how I messed this up. I pulled this from the official site, but it says Ticket Master on the site. It doesn't matter. Minor thing. But
yeah.
card does the same damn thing.
Dude.
Yeah, Ticket Dude. Shady looking goblin. Let's just say that. But Shekzara, like, very specific. Like, it's very specific. Discover a card. It doesn't say discover a minion. Doesn't say discover a spell. Discover a card. And so that's why it would work with Ticket Master. But also, Shadow of Death is still standard legal, which choose a minion, shuffle 3 shadows into your deck, summon a copy when drawn. If you don't remember Shadow of Death, and that's an epic. It's not a legendary, so you could do it twice potentially. It's 4 mana, so it's not like supremely cheap to pull this off. But you could potentially have 6 shadows. And so if you discover one of the shadows with Shekzara, you put 6 minions, or potentially, 3 in a normal scenario, potentially even more. So like there's some real roguey things that can happen with Shekzara. And I don't know. I think I just have it out for Priest because this sounds completely insane and I should be mad at it, but I'm really excited. I'm super excited about Shekzara. If Priest was
doing it, you would hate it.
Yep.
But because it's in Rogue, you're intrigued.
Frankly, I would just like to say thank you, Team 5. For giving this to Rogue and not Priest. But this feels very roguey, frankly.
I think this is going to be really fun. I think because it feels very very tempo-y and very combo-y at the same time. I don't know. I think I'm going to be, it reminds me of like Bomb Warrior. It's like I'm playing things, but then getting a reward as I draw my deck. Like, I don't know. It's like you're doing things and just kind of playing a tempo-y style kind of a game, but then eventually you're probably just going to win. Like, I don't know. It feels really cool. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Shaman, I'm still a little confused about. There's one card in particular I'm really stoked about. Totem Shaman is getting a legendary totem called Grand Totem Eyesore. Just they didn't spell it like eyesore. It's Warcraft spelling to hell and back, but it's
but that's definitely how you say it.
Yeah, it's a 3 mana 0/4 legendary shaman totem. At the end of your turn, give +1/+1 to all other totems in your hand, deck, and battlefield.
Yeah, I think this is good because it has such a big booty, right? It doesn't actually buff itself, but especially if you can get it behind a taunt, traditionally even things like Manatide totems and Flame Tongue totems with the 3 health breakpoint have been difficult to remove. So I think you're definitely going to get 1 activation off of this. You might get 2 or 3. It doesn't buff itself, but it does buff everything in your deck as well as your hand. Technically does your battlefield as well. You might have a totem or 2 on board, but I don't know if this is, because this is not as crazy, even though it can happen over and over and over again. It's not as crazy as, say, like Keleseth, right? It still kind of has a build around condition in that you have to have enough totems in your deck to make this worth it. But I don't know, like maybe it's okay, but I think maybe it's not enough. You can. I think it's like Splitting Axe is the weapon that summons copies of your totems, and there are other like spells that can summon copies. And there's obviously the Totemic Might and Totemic something else that give health and or attack to your totems. Like there's totem things, but in terms of just the straight up buff from this, I don't think it's that lots of people talk about how crazy it is. I don't think it's that crazy.
Well, I'm gonna summon a non-basic totem in duels, and I'm gonna get this and have a great time. So
that's true. It can be summoned by totem summoning effects as well.
Yeah. The fact this is in the totem pool is very interesting.
It's in the pool, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, this is really powerful. Like, the totem deck almost already kind of works, and it's around buffing your totems. And so this is one more. This is the most powerful totem in that deck now, in a deck that already buffs cards like this specifically. So I'm holding out hope. Again, I keep coming back to Demon Hunter Lifesteal going face, being concerned about that and the speed at which Hearthstone may ramp up in light of that archetype possibly running amok. But
yeah, because you still have to draw and play the totems that you buff in your hand and your deck, right? So
yes, but this is only 3 mana. This is highly comboable with other cards in the Shaman totem deck that already exists. So, like, I don't know. If I'm gonna get excited about like just Jurel being added to Pure Paladin, I'm going to be excited about Grand Totem Eyesore being added to Totem Shaman.
Fair enough.
So, other than that, there are a few people trying to make Control Shaman work out there. Similar to Murloc Paladin, not a runaway, super popular archetype, but it is out there, and there's quite a few controlled tools coming into Shaman with Darkmoon as well. But they're relatively straightforward. Storm Strike, 3 mana, deal 3 damage to a minion, give your hero +3 attack this turn. Okay, cool. We've seen stuff like this in Shaman before. There's no overload, so that's cool unless you want the overload, which sometimes Shaman does. And we're also I'm actually rather excited about Cage Match Custodian, 2 mana, 2/2 elemental, because there's a battle cry, draw a weapon. Love tutor effects. Always do, so this is cool. But like overall, I other than just being excited about Grand Totem Eyesore, I'm not really sure where we're going with Shaman. There's no obvious, to me, archetype in these new cards.
Yeah, unless it is just like straight up Totem Shaman. Like, I mean, the Whack-a-Knoll Hammer is very much like buff your board, which Totem Shaman always wants to have a board. It just says, give after you attack, give a random friendly minion +1/+1. So that's the kind of thing that you're going to want to do in a totem deck, is make sure you've got your totems on board. Buffs are good. But yeah, there's nothing really like pushing them in a specific way or direction. I think the Inara Storm Crash is interesting as well. The other Shaman legendary, on your turn, your hero has +2 attack and Wind Fury. So, you could do some more things with your weapons, potentially get a couple of attacks in and do some more buffing. Like, I don't know. There's some interesting things, but you're right. This isn't like Secret Mage and Secret Hunter where it's like they've got a very specific thing that they're pushing. It's very kind of like, I don't know. I don't mean this to come across strong, but it's like very standard. Like, this almost feels like something I would have expected from like Next Rammus or GBG, like really early Hearthstone expansions, because it's just kind of a random smattering of new things. Yeah. I mean, they got a Murloc too. Yeah, Magic Fin's cool. 3 mana, 3/4. Yeah. After a friendly Murloc dies, add a random legendary minion to your hand. I mean, it's random as hell, but but it could be fun. It could be, yeah. And I loved Murloc Shaman last year. I really, really did. I don't think this is enough to bring it back, but it's still cool. So I don't know. I'm just gonna play Totem Shaman, and I'll let smarter people than me figure it out if there's something. Figure out how, yeah. As far as Warlock, what's the same? Zoo, I'm sure will find a way, and I'm pretty sure Zoo is gonna like Midway Maniac and Minari Mosher. Great name on Minari Mosher, by the way. But Midway Maniac, 2 mana, 1/5 demon with taunt. Minari Mosher, 3 mana, 3/4 demon. Battle Cry, give a friendly demon +3 attack and lifesteal this turn. Sure seems like Midway Maniac and Minari Mosher curve into each other quite well. Yeah, it's pretty crazy, right? Like, yeah, just a 1/5 demon with taunt, period, is very, very strong. Yeah, I'm looking at it, I'm like, wait, the card text just says taunt. I would expect like 2 mana, 1/5 to like deal a damage or two to my face. Right? For playing it, but it's just
it's just here to help. It's just happy to be included.
I think it's probably because you have Vulgar Homunculus in your head, which was the 2-mana 2/4.
Well, or Flame Man for just playing Warlock ever in the history of Hearthstone.
No, I know, just because Homunculus is in Battlegrounds, so it's probably fresh in your memory as a demon taunt that Warlocks have that also damages your face for the same mana cost.
I guess the downside is like it would have been more impactful as a 2/4, but it's a 1/5 with taunt, but like whatever.
Yeah.
Like, it's Zoo. You're probably going to find ways to pump that minion. So I'm cool with it. And then as far as what's new, like Demon Warlock might be a thing. I feel like we say this almost every damn expansion, but they're getting like more general demon synergy. Free Admission is 3 mana, rare Warlock spell, draw 2 minions. If they're both demons, reduce their cost by 2. You could game that by only having demons as the only minions in your deck. And you have a card like Fire Breather. It's a 4 mana, 4/3, deal 2 damage to all minions except demons. So you can preserve your own board.
Except for Demon Hunter that has a lot of 2 health things. Probably Totem Shaman and Demon Hunter are the ones that are going to be most vulnerable to this, except for most of Demon Hunter's 2 health things are demons. So
yeah, also Hunter now has access to a couple of the split Demon Hunter demons.
Right.
As well, but like that's pretty edge case scenario. But still interesting, right? And then not all, a good amount of them, a concerning amount of them are. You just have it out for Demon Hunter. It's okay. I understand.
It's not that I have it out for Demon Hunter. It's that Demon Hunter's the one that's playing 2 health things that would normally die to this, except they also have the condition where they won't die to this because they're demons.
Yeah. We have to talk about Deck of Chaos.
Okay. I thought you were going to say we have to talk about Ticketus,
which I don't know. It sounds like I'm trying to tickle someone, but it's a giant murderous demon. No, Deck of Chaos, 6 mana, legendary Warlock spell. Swap the cost and attack of all minions in your deck.
Yeah. So what? Like, who thought of this? This is crazy. This is chaos.
Madness, I believe, is the
absolute madness.
It's madness at the Darkmoon Faire.
Yeah. I'm sure that there's a deck you can build around this, but you're also taking like either turn 6 or 6 mana of your later on turns just to do this, which no one else really does that. I mean, even when you would, like, I'm thinking Skull of the Minari was something that you would do that wouldn't have an effect right away and would take your whole entire turn, but that was worth it because then you were pulling like a Void Daddy out of your deck or something. Like, I don't know if this is worth doing at this point in the game. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's such a big turn to skip. And like you mentioned, it looks like Team 5's trying to make Hearthstone go faster. I don't know if you can take turn 6 off.
Yeah, it just seems weird. Like I could, in my head, I'm like, okay, everything past this, I want low attack, high cost. But everything
right, like Jiraxis. Jiraxis is the thing that people are talking about. But then you don't actually get the attack, right? Because you turn into Jiraxis.
Right.
But it does cost 3 mana though. So
yeah, it's a wacky one for sure. And you're waiting a while to make this happen. Yeah. And you're not priest. You don't have Gahoon. You can't pay like health for this. I mean, even if you could, again, Gahoon 8 mana. You're waiting a while to do it. But yeah, I mean, Void Lord, 3 mana, 9/9. That's nutty, but
that's wild.
That is wild. This really hits me as a wild card, and even then, I'm just like, what? How do I survive to this? How do I survive to do this? Yeah. And it's an awkward deck in my mind. Mm-hmm. It's an awkward deck, but this is a cool card. Damn, this is a cool card.
It's a cool like build around card, I think, and maybe Chaos Warlock will be a thing. Who knows? But yeah, it seems really slow.
Yeah. Hearthstone, man. Hearthstone is still insane. And now let's bring it home. Let's talk Warrior, a class you've been smitten by recently.
Man, I've loved Bomb Warrior. I'll admit, the last standard month I played so much on ladder, and it was just fun. It's just fun. Not so much. I mean, there is the random drawing of bombs that either makes me feel really bad because I've got 5 bombs in their bottom 6 cards, or makes them feel really bad because I put a bomb in their deck and then they draw it right away and die. Like, yeah, the random bomb randomness is definitely a thing that can be triggering. But if you just jam a bunch of games, eventually it just works out, right?
Yeah. And as far as like shoring up existing archetypes, there's not a lot of supremely obvious things here. Like there's no new bomb cards, for one.
Yeah.
And then playing into like the Enraged Warrior that we see, there's not a ton. Minefield, 2 mana, deal 5 damage randomly split among all minions. Could go in there because there's a potential of hitting your own minions, but it's not guaranteed. But like,
I think they're definitely pushing like N'Zoth in Warrior or Menagerie Warrior, whatever you want to call it.
I'm
like
going to call it Ringmaster Warrior.
Okay, Ringmaster Warrior, that works too. But yeah, the whole mech dragon pirate thing that they've got going on. They got a new mech, a new dragon, and a new pirate. And
2 new mechs.
2 new mechs, sorry.
And then how this also plays into N'Zoth. So Ringmaster Watley is a new legendary for Warrior. It's a 5 mana 3/5 Battlecry. Draw a mech dragon pirate.
Very Curator-esque.
yes, exactly. So it's Menagerie-esque, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And then they got 2 mechs, but I'm thinking a little bit more about Stagehand for this than Bumper Car. So Stagehand is 2 mana 3/2 Battlecry. Give a random minion in your hand +1/+1, and Stagehand is a mech. So you could draw that. On the pirate front, they have Sword Eater, 4 mana 2/5, Taunt, Battlecry, equip a 3/2 sword. And on the dragon front, they're getting Tent Thrasher, 5 mana 5/5, Rush, costs 1 less for each friendly minion with a unique minion type. And so here we go. Here's where it kind of starts to come together. Right?
Although I will say, I think that if you're going to build a N'Zoth deck, I'm not actually sure if these are the minions you're going to want, right?
I think you want the 10th Thrasher because it has Rush. So, because N'Zoth, God of the Deep, is Battlecry, Resurrect a friendly minion of each minion type. And so at least 10th Thrasher gets to throw down upon playing N'Zoth.
True. I just don't know, like, especially like Sword Eater, I guess does have Taunt, but like Stagehand, where it's a Battlecry effect, like there's got to be better mechs. Like,
yeah, so maybe it is Bumper Car. Because
Yeah.
Bumper Car is 2 mana 1/3 mech in Warrior with Rush, and then Death Rattle add 2 1/1 riders with Rush to your hand. So there is another minion you get something out of when you play N'Zoth. I'm not sure how excited you are about a 1/3 Rush once you've just played a 10 mana minion, which N'Zoth is. But still, it's impact. And then you also have the other legendary in Warrior, ETC God of Metal. We're getting a new ETC. So it's a 2 mana 1/4 legendary Warrior minion. After a friendly Rush minion attacks, deal 2 damage to the enemy hero. So a little bit more like Rush synergy. And 2 of the potential, like, quote unquote, Ringmaster minions have Rush. And also Bumper Car gives you 2 more Rush minions.
Yeah, I think Rush Warrior might be the way that we see things going, more of like a tempo-y, control-y thing, where you're kind of playing your Rush stuff, and then ETC will, because it's a cheap minion, right? ETC's, it's a 1/4 for 2, which, I mean, we've seen Armor Smiths stick around all over the place, and I think it could potentially help you hang on to the board while just chipping away at your opponent's health. Like, it's a good, like, it reminds me of Armor Smith a lot, right? Because it's basically the same. There's a trigger that you're probably trying to do in your deck anyways, and there's a 2 health swing, right? So Armor Smith, you gain 2 armor. With ETC, you are dealing 2 damage, but it's still that like change in the ratio of your health versus your opponent. So it reminds me a lot of Armor Smith, and Armor Smith sees a ton of play especially in decks that are doing like enragey things. So I think ETC is a really good addition to decks that are doing rushy things.
Yeah. Still sticking with like the Ringmaster Mech Dragon Pirate bait. There's also the Ringmaster's Baton, which is a new 2-mana 1/3 epic warrior weapon. And after your hero attacks, give a Mech Dragon and Pirate in your hand +1/+1. And that's what made me think of Stagehand, because Stagehand has that like hand buff mechanic.
Right. Yeah, they're kind of doing a little bit of everything, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Little bit of Russian, little bit of hand buffing.
But I think I'd be more interested with the Ringmaster Baton to be buffing my bumper card because it has Rush, where Stagehand does not. So if I'm buffing things with Ringmaster's Baton, I'm getting more mileage out of it, or more guaranteed value out of it with my Rush minions that I'm buffing. So it's just, it's interesting. I'm always trepidatious about hand buff because we've been burned so many times. It hasn't really panned out. And
it's a very slow mechanic, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, and Pure Paladin, that's buffing from hand, not buffing your hand. So,
yeah.
I mean, like traditionally Hearthstone is buffing from hand. So, yeah, but there's some interesting stuff in Warrior here. It's different. I mean, they've found archetypes that work for them, and I think those archetypes are going to continue being a force post Darkmoon. So I'm kind of glad like they're getting a little weird here. They're taking a swing. They're trying something new with like this semi curator menagerie ringmaster archetype style they're doing here.
Yep.
So I dig it. And that's we made it, man. We made it to the end of the classes. 2 hours and 6 minutes in. Yeah. Doesn't feel like actually, I'm sure we saved a ton of time. We've gone cover card.
We did.
But yeah, let us know how you felt about that. I like it because it's a podcast. That was way more conversational. Just go like, now we talk about the 2-mana 2/2. But yeah, and we've talked about the old gods, and a decent amount of these other things have been subjects have been broached. So, would you mind talking about Battlegrounds for a second? I know this has gone long, but I'm excited about how much things have upheaved since I've been gone.
We can absolutely talk about Battlegrounds. I was waiting for that bumper to start.
Have a good battle, friend.
Just like, Joce, what in the name of all that is holy happened while I was away? I feel lost. Actually, I'm loving it. I'm kind of enjoying this Battlegrounds meta quite a bit. I do feel I was sold a bit of a bill of goods. I came home, first 3 games, big demons each time, got 2 first places and a 4th. I was like, oh my God, it happened, Joce. The meta slowed down. That's all I wanted. All I wanted was the meta to slow down. And no, it only slowed down if you get big demons.
Yes. And I think that there's a lot of fun to be had in Battlegrounds right now. I played a lot trying to capture footage for the YouTube video for last week because there were so many changes to heroes. So I think I played 10 or 12 rounds of Battlegrounds over a couple days, and it felt a lot better. I still got unlucky and had elementals in a lot of my lobbies, but it felt better just to have a break from them every once in a while. So I'm very much enjoying Battlegrounds again. It had been quite a while since I'd spent some time in there, basically since Elementals launched. So I'm glad that we had the moving away from them, and it's feeling a lot better now. Mostly because I think what they did last week or the week before, what they did with the patch anyways, is they very much shored up the bottom to the point that I don't think I've had a bad hero choice since they actually brought this patch in. Like, I haven't had that, oh man, there's nothing to pick feeling. So I think they did a really good job of kind of like bumping the bottom up so that you no longer felt like there was a lobby you just couldn't win.
Yeah. I am currently my feeling is, damn it, Wag toggles in the lobby. That's kind of it. Like that's as close as I get. But beyond that, she's not in every lobby. And yeah, they've really tightened up the heroes. Like, you go look at HS replay, the delta between average placement is really close, except for Wag Toggle, who is like almost Ragnaros levels of ahead of everyone underneath her. Not quite. Ragnaros was still a little higher, but whew, Wag Toggle's bringing home the bacon for sure. Which, like, when I came, I'm not even joking, Joce. Like, this was my experience. I was away, celebrating my anniversary, come home, didn't look at the patch notes, went to HS Replay, pulled open average placement, and just went, what the actual... It was just... I was so
it's like you think that maybe you sorted the heroes upside down somehow. Like
because underneath it was Galakrond. And I was like, wait, what? I'm sorry, no. And then like Finley, I'm like, okay, Finley. Elise, I'm still confused. Maiev, okay. Lich King, all right. All right, I understand why you're there. For's Omu, okay. I'm just sitting here just like,
what is going on?
What reality have I stepped into?
Well, and I think that there's a possibility of ways that they could still tweak Wagtoggle to bring her down a little bit. I think she feels like she's in a really good place right now, obviously. But compared to even like just that one little change, how much of a difference it made. And I think that they could just maybe go down the route of saying like putting a max on it, like max 2 minions or max 3 minions or something. So it's still really good in the early game, but gets a little bit progressively worse and doesn't scale as good as it does right now. But, I think it's in a good place as a mode. I am feeling really good about Battlegrounds now. It's a lot of fun. I'm back to my like playing Battlegrounds for, you know, a few rounds and then flipping back to standard and, you know, going back and forth between the two modes instead of sitting in front of the screen in Hearthstone going, what button do I even push right now? Like Elementals really just kicked me in the gut.
Yeah, no, I stand by that. I think that meta was the worst we've ever seen in Battlegrounds, but like a landslide victory. I think it was very, really, really poor. It was really fast. I think the meta's still fast outside of like drafting big demons. Like it kind of puts the game in slow-mo for you if you get a decent start on that. But it's still like there's a good amount of avenues to go. I'm like kind of really excited. The menagerie is like the hotness again. Like we've kind of come full circle to racing the fine light fang, and I like that. I like that type of play. I like the slow growth to outscale your opponents as opposed to kind of like the instant, like
the really big, like one or two swing turns. Yeah.
I like that more.
I agree.
So you have time to see it and react to it and try to deploy a new strategy as opposed to see it and die immediately upon looking upon it as if you stared at the sun for too long.
Yeah, very much that.
Yeah. So like it's in a good. I think Battlegrounds is a really freaking good place. Like I think we did almost as close to a 180 as we possibly could have. So like I'm stoked. Like please, though, for the love of God, can I get a Wagtoggle game? I haven't gotten a Wagtoggle game since I got back.
I think I've only had one, maybe two.
Not
but again, I was spamming Battlegrounds trying to get that footage. So
yeah, I got the new guy today. I got Silas. I got Silas today.
Oh, did you? I tanked my MMR because I was conceding my Battlegrounds as soon as I saw my hero. Yeah, as soon as I didn't have a lot of time before the show, Garrett. So I was conceding my Battlegrounds games, trying to get Silas. I conceded like 5 in a row, and then I was like, oh man.
I appreciate your dedication. However, that is a needle in a haystack. We have too many heroes. What are you doing to yourself? Save your points.
I know. I really, really wanted to try him before because he's so different, right? He's so unique. And I don't know if he's good or bad. I have seen Silas's at the top of my lobby. I've seen Silas's at the bottom of my lobby. I don't know.
I think he's bad really on average. Cool. I think he's bad on average, but boy, can he high roll.
Yeah.
Like at the beginning of my game.
Because it all kind of depends on what random minions spawn in your tavern and then which of those minions randomly gets the ticket, right? So if the ticket lands on a minion you would buy anyways, then that's a huge high roll and you're going to kind of snowball from there. But if it lands on something you wouldn't otherwise buy, then you're like, oh man, like how important is that ticket? Is it my third ticket? Is that going to give me my discover? Maybe I do want to do that, even though there's this other minion I'd rather spend my gold on. Like there's some interesting decisions to happen there, but you're right. Like he's a layer of random on top of the random minions that are offered to you anyways. Like I don't know, which is why I wanted to try him, which is why I conceded all my lobbies today.
Yeah, he's really cool for all the reasons you mentioned. There's definitely some interesting decisions that may be made, especially when you're sitting on that third pip. It's like, whatever next ticket I buy, I get to discover. But it feels kind of like it's always good in the early game, but also stressful because in the early game, especially if like you've got elementals, you've got beasts, and you've got murlocs. So you have all the econ minions in the pool. Like, Silas feels kind of awesome, but at the same time, like, are you staying on one to find these? Then are you really getting a lot of value out of discovering, because it's from your current tavern tier, it's not from the next one up. And even if it was, like, how much would you really care about getting a 2?
Yeah.
Like, this is worth a lot more at 3 and up when you're trying to, like, you know, build those stronger minions. So it's really strange. I had an interesting opening because I got a lot of tickets on Murlocs early on. I was like, cool, I guess I'm going Murlocs. And then I like discovered more Murlocs because all the Murlocs had tickets. And then like I got to tier 4 and it was just like, I hope you like tickets on Unstable Ghouls, because that's all you're getting tickets on. Or Xeris here and there, which I was like, oh, come on. And so then like I just absolutely hit this ticket drought, and then I actually started getting rolls with no tickets on any minions. I was just like,
oh, I didn't know that was I thought that there was always one. I didn't realize that it was possible not to get tickets, which again changes my opinion on the hero even more, because I thought that
rare, because I could only think of one time I didn't have tickets offered on a roll. But yeah, I
feel like that would be a way to change him if it does turn out that he is underperforming. I feel like guaranteeing that at least one minion in your tavern would have a ticket, then that would be a better change than having sometimes where you just don't even have that option, because you still, in order to get the discover, you'd have to buy 3 minions, right? So you have to spend 9 gold to get that discover. So I think it would still be okay.
The high roll potential though, like I can see it. I can see it. Like, oh, you went for a tribe and those tickets kept showing up on that tribe. Like that's going to be
but I think
nutty.
I think that's okay though, because that high roll is going to happen a whole lot less often than like high rolling into the Ginny before the change, you know, like when it tier 5 and could discover tier 6s and, you know, tripling on tier 4. Yeah. That was a more consistent high roll that everyone could go for, versus like if you happen to randomly get tickets on all the exact right minions that you need, like that's going to happen one Silas game out of 100, if not less, you know?
Yeah. But I don't know. It's like coming at a point where Menagerie is hot in the meta. And so like, he also seems like it could be a decent Menagerie hero, because you don't want to be too precious about what you're buying. And then also the Discover can help you find triples on the Menagerie minions you're purchasing. And I don't know. He's interesting for sure. He's wild. He's definitely fun, without a doubt. Like if you played a lot of Battlegrounds, I think you're gonna have a good time playing him, because he 100% makes you think about how you're playing the game differently. And to me, that's like, that's when I'm happy to take a step back from the min-maxing. Like, is this good value on average across every game of Battlegrounds? Like, if you're asking me to also do interesting things, like I give a shit. Like, I still love Bigglesworth so much.
Oh yeah, he's one of my favorites.
Yeah. So I dig him, and overall, I'm just over the moon with the current Battlegrounds meta. You know, the one that's like, I'm just like, what is happening? Is George the Fallen.
He's really good.
Yes, he is. 2 gold divine shield. Shut up and take my gold.
I've actually had quite a few George games since the change, and he is super consistent to get you a top 4.
I've only had him offered once. I've gotten more Lich King. I think I've played more Lich King last week than I have since he's been good combined.
Yeah, Lich King's still good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, totally. I've gotten a lot of Maevs as well, but these have been some of the worst Maev games I've gotten. But that makes sense, because I'm still like kind of figuring out what to draft. And that's very much weird Maevs things.
Yeah.
Is when you have a game plan. But yeah, so I didn't want to spend too much time on Battlegrounds, and we'll have more time over the coming weeks and whatnot, because I knew this is going to be a big episode where we talk about constructed cards. But I just wanted to make a mention, because boy, I came home and it was just like, happy birthday, Garrett. My birthday's in January. Doesn't matter. You're going to love Battlegrounds. Enjoy. So a lot of present analogies on this episode.
Yep.
It's almost like we're opening presents or cards soon. Very soon, Joss.
Packs. So soon. We've got, how long?
Tuesday.
5 days? Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday.
So I think we can pretty safely say we'll do an episode on Wednesday. talk about what our...
Yeah, that's a pretty safe bet.
Yeah. I don't mind like a day between major updates. So look forward, everybody. I think it's going to bring us to the end of this episode. Thank you so much for hanging with us. I never know how long these things are going to go, but I hope we helped you burn up some serious hours out of your workday with us in your earbuds. So with that in mind, if you want to write in, be a part of the show, the email to do so is tacpodcast@gmail.com. If you are a patron, if you're supporting us over at patreon.com/TAC, first off, thank you. That's very kind. You don't have to, and we really appreciate that you do. But also, you can drop us a message on the Patreon Discord. Feel free to tag us and skip the inbox entirely. Other than that, speaking of our patrons, huge thanks to our Patreon producers, Declan H, Cheesy Bob, and Lord of the Cup. If you want to become a Patreon producer, help us out big time with, paying our bills, and also get thanked on every single episode of The Angry Chicken. Check out patreon.com/TAC. Follow the show on Twitter at TAC Podcast, and you can catch us live when we announce that it's going live, because we tend to shift it these days, considering when big news drops for Hearthstone. You should be not only following that Twitter account, because that's when we announce that we're going live, but also just check us out, twitch.tv/AMoveTV. You want to watch us on YouTube? It's youtube.com/AMoveTV. Unless you want the full uncut VODs, it's youtube.com/AMove numerical 2. Folks have been asking again where those are. They're there. They're there. We linked to them in the blog. Go check it there. AMove.tv. So that's going to wrap it up. But before we go, Joce, you don't only do the Angry Chicken, you're doing all sorts of awesome stuff around the web. Where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Twitch. I am at Joce Plays. Wanted to give another shout out to everybody who helped us out with Extra Life last weekend. We had, I think, the best year we've ever had without surprise random dev donations, which happened to us one year. It was all you guys, all the community. We raised more money this year than we ever have before. If you would like to continue to support the cause, it's the Children's Miracle Network of Hospitals. And you can still donate all the way till the end of December. We're going to be doing more streams, but I doubled my goal. So you guys have just been amazing. Thank you guys so much for hanging out on Saturday. Again, the link is bit.ly/TGI Extra Life 2020 if you would like to donate. Otherwise, just go and follow the stream, twitch.tv/Joce Plays, in order to see when we're streaming. But it's been an absolutely awesome year. You guys are phenomenal, and I love you.
Is such an awesome cause. I'm not sure I've ever mentioned this before, but I know you do this every year, and somehow this has never come up. I spent like over a month in a children's specific hospital when I was growing up. I had this horrible, crazy infection that could have killed me or taken my leg.
Jesus.
And yeah, I was like laid up in the hospital for a long time when I was young. And like children's hospitals are legit. Like I was terrified. I still to this date have like a raging fear of anything medical related. I don't like going to the doctor. I hate being in hospitals, but like
understandable
specific hospitals do wonders for kids. So it's such a good cause. So I'm stoked how well that's been going for you guys this week. So everyone go support it. It's such a good freaking cause. Go check that out. For my stuff, Garrett Art on Twitter, amove.tv for everything else. Let's Talk About Star Wars is back because the Mandalorian is back. WoW Killer is back because I am back. Into the Nexus just recorded. I double stacked it on Thursday. I am tired and hungry. So with that in mind, let's bring this show to an end. Until next week, where we will be celebrating the release of Darkmoon Faire. Job's done.
Job's done.